can basically say, oh, this book doesn't say what you says it says, right? And that'll be a good way to undermine his position. But it's simply just like appeal to, I can't believe it, bro. This is crazy, bro. Yeah. So it's not really a strong argument.
I had to get myself familiar with misinformation to be able to tackle his points, right? Because that's what also.
So you're just labeling it misinformation.
Okay, no, well, wait,
try, bro. Just try. So, don't dial it in. Just try.
Sure. I'm trying to make a really accurate statement because it's kind of an all or nothing that gets followed up with this, right? It'd be like, well, this is true, right? So therefore it's not misinformation. And I don't qualify misinformation as exclusive being, everything it says is lies. Part of it can be true.
Okay, what Many times you need a little bit of truth. Misinformation? Go ahead.
So you asked me, hey, what you should do is you should get the book, and then you should look at that book and assess it, right? And the book that Lion mentioned and that I've looked at and I've assessed, and I found misinformation in that book, right? Yeah, I have. It's called the book is called "They Came Before Columbus," right?
That's not the book that I'm talking about. The Jewish encyclopedia about this is stupid about themselves is in there. Did you get that book? That Columbus went to Germany.
No, I'm not talking about that book. So, wait, gotcha. Lion, I'm not going to call you retarded or anything because that's not what I was saying. I'm saying I've done this with you, right? I've done this.
You're trying to make this about you.
Yeah, the book is called. We were talking about what we were actually talking about was the conversation that the correspondent himself and the guy that played the Jew. So I'm addressing concrete. Address the statement that I made. But so if you can stop being emotional right now and let me have some clarification. Is this the way that you're trying to recontrol the state? Gotcha.
Did you hear me mention the Jewish encyclopedia 3 times?
No, I came towards the end of the conversation. Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird, right? Because I'm trying to I think that concrete has a good point. I got you. Yeah, I know. And then you have your Marvel Cinematic Universe that you need to be the protagonist in. And all I'm pointing out, all that I'm pointing out, right, is that this pattern follows you with other cultures, right? This is what happens. Other cultures now have to be redefined. And the thing is with truth is that because it's either is or it isn't, right? When you say something that is not in vein with the truth, many times you now have to redefine a bunch of other events. And this is a pattern you can see. Not only do you have to redefine Jewish people.
Is this your defeater?
Well, no, this is no. I'm clarifying what you said, right?
His argument?
His defeater is what is he pointing out? No, I don't. I'm not very cool.
You don't have it, but you want to undermine his position while simultaneously admitting you don't have a defeater for his argument.
Talking about
that's
not
actually.
So I have had a conversation with him, right? And I have fact check Lion, right? And I have showed him how.
You never fact checked me. You're just talking.
Yeah, I did fact check you. I can bring it up.
Jewish misinformation.
So yeah, I'm just pointing out that there's a pattern with Lion in which he has to redefine other cultures and other people, not just Jewish people, so a narrative can fit.
Okay,
and I'm
so
saying, hey,
we've already done that. You're a piece of shit, Lion. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, hey, look at your argument.
I'm not saying you're retarded. Lion's a
piece of shit. There you go, Lion.
What's
interesting is that besides him being a piece of shit, do you have a defeater for his argument?
He's the first generation homosexual from Africa. I don't give a damn what that nigga say.
But see, there's this
didn't it lie?
There's this through line, no matter the argument, that actually follows with how racism functions, right? No matter if you're talking about gay people, whether you're talking about Jews, whether you're talking about any group of people, right? This desire to dominate, to exploit, or to exclude, and race was constructed to rationalize and maintain those systems. So it's on one hand, you're making an argument that race is only a social construct, but then at the same time saying that there's something inherently different about these groups of people, right? And so then it's like it's a natural thing, and so it's not. This is the most realistic way to think about it, right? But it's all coming from the same trope of wanting to dominate, exploit, or exclude people. So I don't care what variables or groups of people that you put into that formula, that's more aligned with racism than anything else.
Who's trying to dominate or exclude people?
I mean, Lion, you are.
But do you know about the Jewish culture at all?
Lion, you're racist?
Hey, but do you know about the Jewish culture at all? Do you know what a goyim is, Chris?
No, I don't.
I
I don't have to know.
They speak with tone and authority as if they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
I don't have to know. I don't have to know.
You do
all
have
the
to know,
nuance in history. No, but I'm saying
What
like
you don't know is exactly what you need to know.
that's the reason why you don't know what you're talking about.
But hold on.
You're identifying the term. Wait. You're identifying me as being
Goyim, the etymology of Goyim.
You're identifying me
because I'm
initially a Jewish person who went straight away from Jewish law.
Wait. Stop, Louis.
But hold on. There's a bigger question here, right? There's a bigger question. Y'all gonna make
You're letting this guy blind.
Lion, when a group faces extinction, what is their final recourse?
Hold on, I'm not even gonna answer that. Wait, man. I want to make a point. You don't know what a goyim is, and it's a word that they created to exclude you from their circles.
Incorrect. You're wrong.
Goyim means Gentile.
Goyim it was a word levied from Jews to other Jews who had left the faith.
Oh
yes.
Look. Oh my God, you're so stupid.
That's what the
origin of the word. Goyim means Gentile, right? And they themselves see themselves as different.
That's what happened in Jesus' Muse's room. There was a lady up there, and or actually the gentleman, and then a lady followed. But basically, I was just trying to narrow in on like the Department of Education, right? I was trying to work out the issue with that. Why that's fine with cutting it, blah blah blah. Maybe there's some problems with it. And this particular individual starts talking about Hitler, and like everything but the subject. This is so typical of the left and the progressives on this app. They can't even focus on one issue and make a cohesive argument for their case. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's why I've been trying to like catch them early on. Like I was trying to get Ben just to. It's really a struggle. You know what I mean? I don't know why.
No, it is, and then the second that they feel like cornered at all, like because they only get defensive when they know that they're possibly, like they know that they're wrong, right? And then they like knee-jerk reaction, and then they just obliviate, and then it's over. Then they'll throw a temper tantrum and leave. Like I don't know. I was in a room with Otis the other day, and I was being like respectful. He kicked me out of the room. He removed me. I was not a jerk at all.
Which house was that in?
No, he opened up like his own public.
Okay. Wow, yeah, he went on me, like this a few minutes, or not like an hour ago, just a little bit in the goo, but yeah, I mean that's where we're at. So it's the whole like, let me just spray the stage with every talking point I heard for the day, right? It's like, and that doesn't, for me, maybe it's just a personal style, but to me that just shows that you're just not ready to defend any of those points. It's just like, okay, let me just give you everything I got that I heard, and then like I'll make it sound like you're fighting me, because as you try to break down what I've been saying, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's all tactics, you know.
Right, like when they say, okay, so you think this, and it's like that's not your point at all, and then you just ask, is that really what you heard me say?
Oh, man.
It's something simple like that, and
Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to become a big content.
I wish you were in Muse's room, because this lady, there's a replay. I'm gonna get that totally do a room on it. There's a lady that was literally totally misinterpreting what I was saying for 20 minutes. Literally, every time she opened up her mic, she would repeat back what she thought I heard, and like it was completely the opposite. It was hilarious. Holly was losing her shit in the group. That's why I was trying to ping her in, because she could verify this. But it's super annoying that you have people that don't listen to anything you're saying. I mean, I even showed it with Ben. I'm like, he did say that he didn't want any end of the war, and he's like, no, I didn't say that. Well, you did. You said it just you don't want it under Putin's terms. Who cares? It's the end of the war. Man, it's frustrating.
It is. No, it's really frustrating. It's that they have already a perceived notion before they even start conversing with us that so everything will explain something, and it's not that they don't hear what we're saying, it's that they automatically think that we're lying or trying to pull one over on them, because they think we're degenerates, right?
Yeah, they use logical fallacies consistently. They take what you say and use it as evidence for something completely different, and they just do it over and over.
Yeah.
It is. And like I said, like both Tone and I admitted that Trump has made mistakes, but it's like if I had said that, like if if I was on the opposition and I heard these particular cult members saying that this guy made mistakes, I would try to run with those mistakes and like really put it in their faces, but they don't do that. They go on to the next talking point.
No, they don't.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen or heard.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because part of the problem is we've already admitted our mistakes. That's a great opportunity to run with it. You know what I mean?
Every time we even question something of Trump, we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But they will triple down on whatever the left does. They will they worship the left. Where they will not disavow them in any way, shape, or form. So they are just saying what they project onto us the things that they do. Have you ever heard them criticize Joe Biden or Kamala?
No, and they never admit anything that they did was ever wrong.
Right. If they got something wrong, or if they were really disrespectful to you, ever acknowledging that? No, they think we deserve it. It's just weird, and I don't know. I think they're too far gone. There's I think I walked away from the last moment where where people didn't just completely just go into the matrix for good.
So I'm thinking, as I said earlier, you don't think you were here. I was having an offline discussion. I know that sounds weird to hear, not something on Clubhouse, but with some other people.
Okay.
And I'm starting to think you're kind of onto something where I don't think you can have a discussion with anybody that's anti-Trump anymore. I think we're at a point where you're going to have to wait 4 years to have a discussion with anything. And by the way, I don't even think that's going to solve anything. In fact, I don't want it to solve anything. You're still going to have to deal with me after 4 years. You're not going to get away with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and did they forget that Biden's first 48 hours, he signed, what was it, 148 executive orders? Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course you wouldn't know that because the media didn't play it up as such.
Right. So, if they want to talk about Trump, just, doing so much and scaring them, it's Joe Biden did, double that in 48 hours. Like, what are you talking about?
So this isn't a love thing.
Like you were signing.
Oh, go ahead, Emo. Yeah, I'm sorry, we keep cutting off.
I said
by
he
the way,
didn't know what you were signing out.
By the way, real quick, there's opposition on the stage. Keep going, but just hear our points and try to adjust a little bit. But go ahead, Emo. Yeah.
I said he did not know what he was signing anyway. Biden.
Good point. Yeah.
He can sign 1,000. He didn't know what he was signing. He was just signing.
Did he sign them or did the computer sign them?
Well,
So he's not.
I've heard of autographs, but I never heard of autograph.
Auto pen. Well, can we have multiple choice and at the end it says all of the above?
All it had to do was put a piece of paper in front of Joe Biden and say, Donald Trump did this, and then he's going to sign it. It don't matter if it's like, Donald Trump saved your whole family from death, and he'll be like, fuck that. If Donald Trump did it, I'm going against it.
Do you remember when Joe Biden wore the Make America Great Again hat?
That's too funny.
No, it was funny, but like, it kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, what if it was like a troll? Like, haha, Americans, joke's on you.
It was a message, Ann.
I'm serious.
Totally was a shot at Kamala. Those guys don't like
No, I mean, I feel like,
yeah,
a shot at Kamala, but like, essentially that maybe Biden and Trump are on the same page.
Yeah, you never know. So it was the auto pin, right, that's been brought up. And if you think about it, okay, so maybe actually Trump used it, maybe, I don't know if this is true, for the J6ers, whatever. And you can let me know if that's true or not. But the point was more so that anybody could show up at that office, and whether Biden was there or not, they could do the auto pin. It was a wholesale event. That's the problem. Or at least Trump was present during the auto pin. You know what I mean? That's right. That's the gig.
I was shocked when Speaker Michael, when he mentioned he took him 1 year to speak to the president, and when he confronted him, that he denied he signed it. And he didn't know what he was saying. That shocked me.
Well, it really shouldn't, because, oh gosh, I'm going to refrain from finishing my sentence. Matt, but we can't be, I mean, you notice that the left doesn't even come into our rooms anymore. Like, back, when we were supposed to have the red wave, remember, in 2022, and it wasn't, I mean, they loved coming into our rooms. It would be flooded. Now, like, we get, like, a straggler. And now they, like, have their own rooms. They have, like, 100 people in them.
That's true.
Yeah. 100 people in them. And we have, like, people like CEO and, Omari modding in there. What the fuck?
That is true. It really did show who was really MAGA and who wasn't, right, Ian? I mean,
Yes.
we have Omari denouncing Trump. We have, well, now maybe James. I have to still hear his
Wait,
case.
did Omari? Did he?
Yeah, well, that's the rumor. He's like anti-Trump now. And I haven't spoke to him since he made that comment, but or something. I don't know what happens. I forget what the source was for that. But and then we have CEO up on politically correct stage as modded, and we know about Marshall, our little Marshall. I'm gonna have to talk to him, but we do have our little group that seems to be really playing both sides of the fence, and I'm not.
Like Trump, they did Trump really, really dirty. I understand why he reacts the way that he reacts, but with this group of people we're dealing with, you can't even pay them back half of what they did to you. So we have to be the more humble party. We have to be more understanding. Trump needs to settle down sometimes. He needs to quit sticking his finger in the wound and trying to rub it, even if he's got validation for that, even if this group of people tried to destroy him, his family, our country, and they talk bad about him and all this stuff, he still has an opportunity to mend some relationships and try to prove to those people sitting in the middle that this is a guy we can get behind. And some of these things he does and some of these moves he makes, I really don't understand why he's being so audacious with it. I do on one side because, I mean, they really went after him like nobody else in history. But he has to understand we're at this critical point, and I do think that he should just be a little more humble and understanding in what he says.
What is the critical point? The country's $40 trillion in debt. What's the critical point?
Sorry, I'm
Do you understand that they announced, have said the left at all, said anything about the attempt assassination on Donald Trump? No. I mean, to me, they have not. Like, to say, like, that was awful. I mean, our president is like, the amount of people that have tried to kill this man is wild, and they have nothing to say about it.
I agree, and I think that's a real big subject.
Yeah, it is. It just gets washed over.
Yeah.
They're anti-American. That's what these people are. Even Marshall Rankin, he's anti-American.
Okay, yeah, exactly, Doctor. So, I do have James Snyder here. I don't know if you heard from in the other rooms. I was trying to get you in here, my friend, because Monica was mentioning that you did go on a pretty good anti-Trump tirade regarding the British Commonwealth stuff. I didn't want to know if you wanted to clear that up, and you can be totally honest. I don't really care. I really want to hear what you had to say about that, unless that was a troll. I don't know. James, are you there? I don't know.
Yeah, I am here. Yesterday was probably one of the darkest days that our country's ever experienced, where the president has decided that he's going to think about the possibility of nullifying 1776 and joining the Commonwealth of the British Empire. I disagree with this entirely. I understand that it's a symbolic thing, and symbolism is very real when it comes to power. So I think that Donald Trump, if he wants to continue to have a legacy of strength and patriotism, that he needs to understand that this is the worst move that he has ever made in his entire life.
Wow. Okay, here we go. So, do you think the left, and I haven't had a chance to check in, they're using this pretty hard on him, James, to really go after him? And by the way, did he say that he wants to join? Because from what I gathered, none of that was mentioned. It was just like, hey, I think it's a good idea, but he never said he would join. I could be correct. I haven't had a chance to look into it all, but go ahead and correct anything I said.
I did add a link to it that's from Fox News where it talks about it and stuff like that. They have not gotten a response comment from the White House just yet, so there's not that. But when it comes to the left, I've heard Monica say that the left is attacking Trump with it. It's not on CNN. It's not on NBC. It's not on ABC. They're not talking about it. They have not a single word to say about it. It is only people in the red hats like me and Alex Jones that are actually losing our minds over this. For some reason, it has been stifled down to a nullification story. And yesterday, the top news instead was soda. People are being paid to promote soda. I'm not sure how that was the relevant story when it came to the two that were there, but that's the one that CNN, NBC, Fox News, and the others put forward.
So what do you theorize? Why is it not being used as a weapon? Be a great opportunity, because now you have both the red hats and the left using that as a bludgeon to go after Trump. Why aren't they jumping on it? Is there something that we're missing in the story, do you think, or what do you think?
Well, the reason why this sets alarms off for me so much is because for the past so amount of months on here, I've been warning about foreign loyalists that are within the left. And they want to join the Commonwealth. They want to give the royals power. They want to give Europe the go-ahead to be the world leader. And it does feel similarly, at least symbolically as they've described it, that Donald Trump is given the go-ahead as well for King Charles to be that. King Charles is the head of the British Commonwealth, even if it is symbolic. And that is just something that we cannot accept. It's not the Prime Minister that's the head, it's the King that's the head. Sure. And it's horrifically horrible.
So Mike Ben's not here for the big criticism of Trump. You all witnessing that right now on the record, that we do critique Trump. So let's keep that the case. Like I said, I have to read more into it. Is this his only major issue that you see so far? Because I am asking people what they're giving him as a grade for making America great again. I'm assuming this dropped into D+, or an F or a C. I don't know where he is.
You don't know if this is fake news. James doesn't know. No one knows if this is fake news.
I don't know. We'll see. But James, what kind of grade do you give him after this?
Well, I know that John, everything you say is bullshit.
You're not James. Hold on. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I can't grade him yet. This did happen in the middle of a Saturday. So we're going to wait at least until this next week before. And if I don't get a walk back or anything like that, then I can't help but rate him as the worst president in history. If he does this, if he makes this happen, the worst president that we ever had.
But doesn't the Senate have to confirm 2/3 majority?
Yes, but if you look at the numbers of the 2/3 majority, he has it, or at least within margin, with within about 5 votes that they would have to earn for. So there is a giant worry I have that this could happen.
Honestly, what percentage do you think this is going to happen, James? What percentage?
Well, what percentage do you think that 1,500 years of unbroken royal chains with the goal of domination for their kingdom, what percentage do you think they just decided to stop, Monica? That they decided this year that they have earned their... I'm answering your question if you stop for a second. For 1,500 years, the royals, these people, have been working for domination. This country here, 400, 500 years doing the same thing. So are you saying that they've suddenly stopped?
What percentage do you think that Trump
unless we acknowledge it and stop it, it's 100% going to happen.
Really?
All right, let's
talk about the article.
This is a chessboard. You think the King of England just gave it up? No, him and his mom have been plotting this for 100 years.
Okay.
So it's not him and his mom, it's their entire family that's existed for 1,500 years that had the idea of a United Kingdom. They didn't just slaughter Ireland and Scotland and all these people for fun. They didn't build this country and try to fight us in a war for fun. They do intend 100% domination and slavery of all free Western people. And they intend to do that, including here in the United States.
Right.
Well, the thing is, like, when you're talking about Doctor in this room, like, Doctor, his name is John, and when Doctor talks, you know, he wants to think about, like, these people that are LARPing, like, live action role playing, you know, doing their things that they do. Like, he thinks that their whole government is like a LARP. So, I mean, you gotta understand what kind of Americans you're dealing with, sir.
Joe, I think you were saying something too. Do you want to speak?
Well, I was just saying that I think it's more likely that Britain will become an Islamic state than
Bingo on that. I'm with that. James, what do you think about that? They're more likely to become Islamic than they are anything else.
Yeah, I'm 20 years old. King Muhammad, and he's in charge.
Please let me back in the army. Please let me back in the army. I'll go back and like kick the Muslims out of the UK. Please let me in the army.
But Dr. James, what happens if we join the Commonwealth and then we liberate the Commonwealth from the king? What if the reversal happens?
Yeah, all this rationalization, all the hey, maybe we should, guys. All I'm seeing is you trying to fit the red coat on and see if it works on you, and I want to blast your heads off.
Oh boy!
I bet you I could hit you before you hit me.
Wait a minute, there is a lady in the house. No hitting each other. But what I wanted to say was, is King already supposed to be the head of the British or the England Church of England. He already surrendered, and was it day before yesterday or something? He was literally saying Allah Akbar. What in the world? No, not in America, not in this land, not again. There is no again. We run away, the fathers of this nation run away from there for liberty. We're gonna stay liberal.
My fellow Americans, let me just help you learn how to say it. It's God save the king. God save the king.
That was then, not here.
But the reality,
Fake news.
the reality is, like 4 days ago, Trump sent out on Truth Social. He sent out a tweet, said, Shalom Hamas. If you don't give back all of our dead bodies and every hostage, we're gonna fuck you up. What do you gotta say about what do you gotta say about that?
I'm happy about it. Bring back the bodies, bring up the military, bring the children of America back to us, back to the land of the free and the brave. Bring them back. Alive or dead, bring them back. They deserve to be on this
Trust me, I'm that motherfucker they never want me to. Dude, please don't send me back, because if I go back, shit's gonna turn into chaos.
So DA been going around. Nice burp there. What grade would you give Trump for making America great at this point? In this 2 months in now, what would you give him right now?
You're asking me specifically, Matt?
Yeah, a grade. Yeah.
Yeah. Like with Trump right now, within since January when he became the real president, all of his electoral, prescriptions. I'm just trying to figure out where did he go wrong?
He hasn't yet.
So you're saying he has derailed himself from the mission, and he's gone wrong. Very similar. James has a complaint too that he's.
No, I didn't say he went wrong. I said where did he go wrong?
But he did go wrong because you have to have
Well, but then point out the point where he went wrong.
You're the one making the claim that he went wrong. So that's not.
No, I made the point that he never went wrong. You're saying he did.
No, you said you did a question. Where did he go wrong?
I said at what point did he go wrong? And that means in my mind he's not done wrong.
Oh, okay. Right. That's an interesting take. All right. So we're still good. Do you have a grade on that, or no? Are you just gonna leave it at that right now? Like, is it a B plus?
As far as my understanding of politics within America?
No. I'm talking about the Trump presidency so far, making America great again. What grade would you give him?
Oh, dude, honestly, Trump is like me when I was in university, and because it's easier to keep an A than to get one back.
That's fair.
So does anybody else think that Trump could be Robert the Bruce and he's going to pull the rug and give us to the King of England for free?
No. I think that he is pulling a Napoleonic error where he thinks that they're going to welcome him and his family into the ranks of old money.
I'm pretty sure that him and Barron don't give a fuck about the money you're thinking about.
James,
I'm pretty sure you have no idea what the difference between old money and new money is, and the difference in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that my great-great-granddad was the Ibrahim Rothschild that was a diamond broker in New York. Shut the fuck up, bitch. You don't know who I am.
If you have no access to any money, then you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
James, is there any...
What I'm talking about is that Donald Trump, no matter what, will always be seen as a real estate star, a real estate broker, TV star, a joke, a clown. And he wants to enter the hall of seriousness. And there's only one option. That's through the options of populism in our republic. He had it right with us. But it does feel like now, with yesterday what he said, that he is trying to pander to the European royals. And I don't care if it's even for trade tactics, negotiation tactics, whatever it is. Fuck the royals. We only negotiate with elected officials.
But he didn't really say that, though. I mean, if you look at the article and read the article, what it's talking about, and then his reaction, he only said, and if you read the article...
Bro, I wanna know what you think about Macron in the Oval Office. Please tell me about 8 days ago, Macron.
The elected president of France compared to the King of England? Are you really asking the difference between those two? You don't get the difference?
I know King Charles very well.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. He's probably your best friend. No, the difference is that meeting with the Prime Minister of England, Comer, whatever his name is, Stamer, completely okay. Meeting with the King of England to discuss joining as a, whatever they called it, associate signatory to the British Commonwealth, that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. I can't stand even the words. The words drive me mad. There's a reason why me and a bunch of other people are losing our minds on it.
Tone, you're cut off. Go ahead. Don't cut off.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm taking a look at the article right now, and I can see how it can be perceived in this way that James is looking at it. And if it was serious and he had real intention, I would be just as pissed off as he is about it. But it seems like it was some sort of attempt by Donald Trump. My belief is that his response was, in his mind, he's saying that because he's trying to ease the tension between America and this Canada deal now. Supposedly, the letter that King Charles sent to him was something that was trying to put something out on the table that was going to ease tensions between America and Canada. And Donald Trump's like, yeah, I like King Charles. I like it. You know, that's all he said was, I like the idea. But what the media is reporting now is that there were these talks about America joining England and the Commonwealth. And I think that was all really blown out of proportion. If it actually ends up being that, of course, that's going to piss off a lot of people. But I think Donald Trump, you know, sometimes he speaks really fast and he doesn't understand how it can be taken and run with one way. And by him saying, yeah, I love King Charles.
So they clipped him. They clipped him, and the fake news is putting it out.
Supporting that idea, but yeah. I don't think that. I think that when we get all the information about what this really was about, I think it's going to be a big nothing burger.
Tone, just to let you know, James. Hold on, who's talking? I'm gonna move you if you don't shut up. Okay, this isn't James' first rodeo with how Trump does stuff. So it is kind of a little, shocking to hear, him push back a little bit so hard on this. I don't know if is it Alex Jones, James, that is really making you question it, or is there other things?
He's late to break it. This came out way before Jones even reported it, which is why I think it's essentially like coordinated fake news distribution.
I mean, it easily could be that, but James, is it only Alex Jones that you pretty much have kind of referred to in terms of getting your information from regarding this? I
know that, as far as I know, I wrote it before Jones.
Matt.
What? Say again, Monica?
Oh, Florida's here. He doesn't want to come on stage?
I invited him. I don't think so, but go ahead, James.
Oh, not coy.
What I was saying is that I'm pretty sure I was talking about it before Alex Jones ever posted about it or anything. Me and Tone, our doctor, whoever, were in a room talking about it hours and hours and hours before Alex Jones ever made the post. It's just, we have a very similar mindset when it comes to things like this, specifically 1776 will happen again type stuff, so.
Fair enough. Sydney, did you want to talk? I didn't mean to cut or scold you or anything, but we were talking, so I just want to make sure everybody could talk without being interrupted.
No, I'm sorry, I'm one of those two.
Matt, James and I talked for 2 hours yesterday hypothesizing about espionage because, Epstein and Trump and Bill Gates and the connections. I mean, it's just political theory or realpolitik that it's possible there's espionage or a silent coup d'etat, or this is all just making public what's already privately negotiated, because at 40 trillion, the Bank of England and the Federal Reserve, it's almost like one currency. I mean, so maybe there is going to be some kind of super compact or merger.
Doctor, that's actually the one case I would make. If that is the case, that they want access to the wealth in terms of trying to cancel this debt that we have, because you guys got to keep in mind this is a national security issue at some point. When countries come calling to pay back their debt and we don't have anything for it, that stuff causes wars. So it's just it's actually not that a conspiracy theory, Doctor. I don't know I think you're being pretty serious about that. That could, might be a reason, just access to the wealth. Now, of course, James is going to go, well, hell no, it doesn't matter what it's for. We're not going back to that. So I get both point of views. But Cindy, you get your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say one thing. I would rather have liberty. This is why I love based on I talk. So I was mentioning that this is why I did exactly this contract out and this is why the USA and all of the people that put the also military schools. So I just really have to back around as well because that because we spending money on people around with privilege. They don't directly affect the American people. That's where we start.
Just you're a little hard to hear, but something about did you say something about U.S. aid or U.S. That particular issue, or I don't know. Anybody else have a problem hearing her? I don't know, but I don't know if you want to fix her mic and try one more time because I think you're onto something there. Maybe something about espionage. Just like how hard it was for me to hear. I think she's gonna come
I
back.
couldn't understand a word she said.
Okay, it wasn't just me. Okay.
So James, I mean, the thing is, I get the feeling that this is like technically Sinclair Media fake news propaganda distribution because it appeared in like every major distributor at the same time. So it seems coordinated, but it's just all based off of that quote, which could just be a clip, but that may indicate sentiment, or you could hypothesize about some type of new contract with the former mother country, and Jefferson says it's eternal separation. So, if they want to try to obfuscate it, the devil will be in the details.
Yeah, it does look like it's a coordinated thing. Everybody's reporting the same thing at the same time, and they're pushing that narrative like Trump wants to join the Commonwealth, and there's nothing there that says that specifically. It's like they took something and they took his quotes and then they.
My question is to you. My question is, what do you think the Commonwealth is?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Doesn't matter what it is. It's the dumbest question I've heard the whole time we've been talking about it. Every time we talk about it, somebody's like, "You know what the Commonwealth even is?" I know what it is. I know that the guy in charge of it's the king, and that's all that matters. I don't care if it's. I don't care if it's a table that you just sit at. It's not okay.
But the reason, Tone, people are looking at it the way they are is because it was what Trump was responding to when asked about
what the understanding how power works
were regarding the interest level of America joining the Commonwealth. And those conversations started through the Castle's press. And according to people within the Commonwealth, the conversations of joining by America are being held at very high levels. So the idea is being tossed around, and Trump's responding directly to that potentiality when he's talking about it's a great idea.
Yeah, but when Trump puts out another tweet and says, despite all of the fake news about rejoining the Commonwealth of England, this is not happening. America is free and independent. That's going to come out. He's going to say that.
Why hasn't he? What's taking him so long?
Because I don't think, this is almost like sub-tier news reporting, as we talked about earlier. It's not in the consensus or the national super consciousness. It's just not getting the distribution.
It was all over the news all at the same time. I don't see it on CNN.
See, Alex...
This is exactly what they want us to do. They want us to get hopped up on the news cycle. If the news isn't making a big deal out of it, then we don't need to make a big deal out of it because the news knows what's important for us to worry about.
No, I'm not saying we're making a big deal. I'm saying Alex Jones amplifies it. Alex Jones amplifies it and calls attention.
Alex Jones does fantastic, but you won't be seeing CNN and Fox News amplifying it.
I'm leaning toward Florida on this one because I'm going to do the 48-hour rule. And I don't know if you guys know Dan Bongino. He has a 48-hour rule where this stuff always turns out not to be what it is. So I'm with Florida. I'm leaning with him on this. I think there's a lot more to it, but I do appreciate James. I'm always keen to hear what James has to say when it comes to something critical of Trump. So I have my reading cut out. Let's put it that way.
I mean, if you just Google it and you see all the news reporting on it, you're kind of like, holy shit! Like, this is pretty wild because, I mean, there's other theories. Like you could ask James about his 12 tribe theory, and I don't see it personally because, like, I don't know. I just see, but I do see the world as a chessboard. And I do see America as being like the lost gem of this incredible network. And if Russia and Ukraine reintegrate, or Israel and Palestine reintegrate, we kind of have our own self reflection reintegration potential. I mean, and so it would be traitorship or conspiracy or espionage. And it's just something to, in my opinion, have fun and hypothesize with. But I think when you look at the banking and you separate out the politic, I think that's really what's truly shaping or taking form. Meaning that there is no audit of Fort Knox. There is no audit of the Federal Reserve. There's just so much about the banking monopoly or the central bank industrial complex that we do not have any transparency into. And I think that's ultimately what all this generally deals with. And like what you said, these types of issues can create wars.
It just seems to me, and maybe I'm just, everybody probably would say this opposite of you guys, that I'm going crazy, but it seems to me that they know more than we know. Because there's a lot of things that Trump is doing that looks like a capture of something, right? Capture of wealth, capture of land. I don't think he's that crazy where he would go through with saying these things, knowing how the media plays things, I think there's a lot more stuff going on. That's why I say it's like, I think there's something going on with like a national security play, that these things all have to be looked at, maybe they know that Russia's making moves in certain ways and certain partnerships. Who knows what's going on? It's just like, but he has to make it known, I suppose, in the media, because they're going to find out there's going to be leaks anyway. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Florida, James, those folks, it seems to me if for him to be going and saying and doing these things, there's something else in play. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
So when the article reads, suggestions for the U.S. to join the Commonwealth were first made during Trump's first stint in the White House, and now in his second term back in office, the proposal's been brought back. A source is telling the Daily Mail that the discussion is being held at the highest levels of the Commonwealth. It would be a wonderful move that would symbolize Britain's close relationship with the U.S. Donald Trump loves Britain and has great respect for the royal family, so we believe he would see the benefits of this. All right, that's all direct quote from whoever the source is. Now, with that being said, that's what Trump is responding to. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me what? The idea of coming to visit with us? The idea of joining the Commonwealth, it would be a wonderful move. It would be a horrible move, symbolizing the reuniting of America and the Commonwealth. Yeah. It would symbolize the end of American purpose, quite frankly.
Well, if you notice in the first part, this is what I didn't like to hear, is it said that this is a conversation that started in his first term, paused, and then is restarting now. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? That in the first term you were doing this, and that we didn't hear about it, and this is some sort of secret. And then for 4 years while you were running for president and being shot at and arrested and attacked, that these people who hate you did not use that a single time against you? What's that? Huh? What the fuck is that? That would be the most damaging information that they could have used the entire time against Trump in the past 4 years of this election. And they didn't use it once. Why?
Exactly. I'm learning the very same thing, James. Out of all the things, we had everything else that they use. Everything from Russia hoax to this and that. I mean, this is actually a possible real one. And why wasn't it ran with? It's just, I don't know. Carry on.
See, that's the thing about fake news. It's so rampant. I have 1% credibility in faith in these articles. I don't believe any of this propaganda hypnosis. It's all hypnosis. I like Donald Trump. I sympathize with him. I can understand him. To me, he says all the right things. I'm with him all the way till the very end. I'm never gonna pull away from him. I voted for him twice, and my dad has met him. Everybody, he's connected. He's the real deal. He's not. I don't think he's gonna pull the rug out from underneath us. But there could be other things in terms of espionage or I don't want to use the term blackmail, but I would just say networking is probably a better way to describe how we could get the rug pulled on us. But the thing is, if we're 40 trillion in debt and the country is worth 200 trillion, we're not really in debt. We just refuse to essentially, stop kicking the can down the road and shut it all down and then reorganize. But we would have to go through bankruptcy, and that's a reorganization process which may be too catastrophic to even try to pull off. I don't know. The heavy is the crown that the king wears, and Trump is, he's going to do his best. I mean, he's the right man for the job, in my opinion.
If something is happening behind the scenes that is so big that it makes Trump think that he needs to even consider an offer of any sort from King Charles, I mean, that's troubling. If what could it be that all of a sudden in the middle of him just now getting elected, things are kind of going against him in a lot of ways, and already some people in the middle that voted for him are regretting their vote, and he's doing some wild things here and there. Like, why would he now ruffle the feathers of the hardcore patriots of America and even consider some sort of offer of any sort from King Charles if it's actually what the news is being reported? Like, what benefit is that going to do for him and for America, really?
Well, Wallace has it. It's his last term. There's a reason why in his first term, where these discussions started, we didn't hear it in the campaign trail when he was running and lost 2020. We didn't hear it in 2024 in the campaign trail. We didn't hear it in the opposition campaign trail. What we are witnessing is very literally Star Wars Order 66 has just happened. The Jedi Council is being shot and executed, and it turns out Senator Palpatine, is a fucking bad guy. We now have Donald Trump walked out yesterday. The way I see it, he walked out and told us, "I have been disfigured for my injuries."
Wow. Why didn't they wait a little bit longer than to do that, a little further into the term, instead of doing it so near at the beginning? Are they in a rush to do some sort of agenda? Like, because it doesn't make sense. This is going to turn so many people that are backing him up against him, and it just seems like everything he does from here on out will be extremely difficult. Unless he just joins, like you said, the dark side, the New World Order, and just completely flips on us. I mean...
Or he knows that he's going to be impeached in 2026, so it's all balls to the wall. And
that might even be it too.
Yeah, I mean, there's something afloat that we definitely don't know. I mean, you can only go by his actions and know that there's nothing that he can't hide it. He's not hiding it. He's clearly out in the open doing this. So he's either in trouble somewhere, or as a person, or we as a country are in trouble in some form. Because like what Tone is saying, it makes no sense to do it this early on. Any kind of rhetoric like this, it makes no sense. It's just red meat and fodder for the left to use, and which is surprising. They're pretty silent about it so far. I mean, we'll see here, but to just bludgeon,
it doesn't fit their narrative though, because they believe everything is structural white racism, and that the English king is a racist, and everything is based on racism and slavery and apartheid, and it's these buzzwords. This just doesn't coordinate with their buzzwords. That's why they can't talk about it.
They would love to join with the King of England. That's their goal. That's their entire goal. That's always been there. That's why I call them foreign loyalists.
Yeah, they would love it.
By the way, he might actually be taking advantage of this whole. This is no conspiracy theory, but the fake news narrative, because no one will believe the fake news. So he's just like, I'm going to go and just do this anyways. I'm just going to say it.
Well, we do know for 6 years it was a secret, right? His first term it was a secret, or 8 years it was a secret. And his first term was a secret. After, in the middle of his term, it's a secret. It's only when Donald Trump himself came out and said it that we all knew about it. It's because Trump said it yesterday that we all knew about this 8-year secret that's been happening of these meetings. It's apparently not the first meeting, it's not the first letter, it's not the first offer, and it's not the first negotiation. So it's like, that is the question I have. What was the purpose of Trump exposing it? And then it brings the question of why has he not made a statement in retaliation today? Is it because he is welcoming, or is it because, like you said, he is exposing it?
Once he gets the feelers, put out there and sees that the majority of people supporting him and patriots and whatnot are hardcore against it, if he still decides to keep going with it, then we might know what we're really dealing with. If he sees the pushback and he decides he still wants to consider this or take it seriously or whatever, then you may be right about that Emperor Palpatine bit.
I do believe.
I think it's true. I have a very bad feeling in my gut that Palpatine came out and announced himself. I think back to 2015. To be honest, I didn't like any politician, any leader. I was disdain to them. And then Donald Trump walked out, and some type of magical spell took me over. And it feels like yesterday that spell was broken.
See, Trump is so mercurial that, if he says something and then he says, what are they saying now? Like, this is a troll. See, he's the perpetual troll. I know that may not make sense, but he is like the smiling, flying cherubim Magus. Like, everything, nothing sticks to him. He's the Teflon Don in a way.
You don't get an 8-year troll with 6 meetings and 4 different secret letters. That's not a troll, Doctor. That is real stuff.
I'll just say this. I'll have to look into it, but I do believe Trump has said stuff and started doing stuff and got pushed back by the MAGA folks, and he backtracked. I just got to double check it. There was something. I don't know if anybody can remember that. Maybe it was his first term. So it does happen, James, where he might have stepped into a little bit and will have a full reversal or retraction or some form. You know what I mean? Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, if he does, I'll be back in full support of him again, 100%. I can definitely understand a verbal mistake.
Yeah. I'm hoping that's the case because I'm in the boat. This is just not a good play, one way or the other, for his, just for his folks. I mean, it's so early on. It's just I don't see where this gets him any leverage anywhere.
But what's funny about it is American sensitivity. When this is proposed to Americans, immediately it creates outrage. It's like a gaslight. That's why I don't trust it. But the other thing is, it's like something to ponder. Like, history is real. We know history, and we know how crazy it is, and the reversals, and the destruction, and the chaos. Like, who the hell knows? No one knows the future. So it just makes you wonder, like, whoa, this is far out. Like, would be a crazy thing. This would be a tremendous deception. And,
James, if this is has some legs to it and is gaining some steam and it's getting really good play, you are for his impeachment in 2026, right?
Oh, yes. If he tries to join us into the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth, I would be 100% towards impeachment of Donald Trump.
There you go, you guys. You got it on record. We're not all in a cult. I wish some of the people that always tell us that,
Yeah, there's a line we can't cross, and that's one of them.
Yeah, and then if they successfully did join the Commonwealth, I mean, I'm going to be honest when I say this, violent revolution is the next step I would take. If we can't stop it through political means, then we go back to 1776 and we teach them what the fuck it was, what the for. Like, the way I describe it, what would George Washington have said yesterday if he heard those words? And that's the way we should feel, is the way Washington would feel right now.
But it doesn't make sense, though, the story we're hearing, right, doesn't make sense with what he supposedly is about. King Charles in England, or every policy they have, is the opposite of what Donald Trump is about. I don't understand, what kind of trouble he must be in, or whatever, to think that he needs that sort of ally, and that he needs them that badly, so as to cause a rift like this. If that's what's really happening, I think we have to find out.
Well, I don't go with the trouble theory. I go with the ego theory. We've always known Donald Trump is an egotistical man. That's what we've used. I knew it was a weapon that we could use to get him as the tool that we needed. We love him. We say we love him at the rallies. We cheer for him, and so he does what we want. The problem is that his ego now, with no more elections from us, no more power from us, is now seeking different avenues. He wants to grow grander, and that means joining the royal lines of old money. You have to remember that the last name Trump was changed to Trump intentionally, so that they could try to fit to be part of these royal lines. And I go to the 12 tribe thing here, which sounds like BHI stuff, but there's 12 Germanic tribes that run the countries of Europe. Italy, Germany, France, England, Ireland, and these 12 families, they come from 12 tribes, they all marry together, are represented mostly in the King of England. His last name, Windsor, is actually 3 of those tribe names combined into one. That's what makes him a king, is being the leader of the tribes. And that's what Donald Trump is hoping to marry into, is to this tribal Western leadership.
The ego thing I don't disagree with, but him going that way with it, I do disagree with, because his greatest...
Well, who is his daughter married to, Tone?
Well, I see that, but Donald Trump's best case at becoming a legendary figure for all of history is that if he stands up for America, fights against the globalism, and brings us out of that, even though the whole world's against him, by joining King of England, he is completely changing teams to the complete opposite side that he is supposed to.
You're right, and that's why I call it a Napoleonic error, because Napoleon did the same thing where Napoleon arrested the aristocrats. He had them in jail. He was chopping their heads off, and then randomly he decided, I want to be an aristocrat myself. I also want to be a royal. So he went to their jail, to the cells, and asked them, if I let you free, can I join you? And they said, if you let us free, we'll make you emperor. So he let them free. Guess what happened? He eventually was exiled and died on an island by himself as the exiled emperor with no money.
No, he didn't. He came back. He came back from the island.
Took him out.
No, I'm talking about the end, the very, very end. Not the second, not when he came back.
Listen, the thing that blows my mind is if the whole thing is kabuki theater, because look at Waltz and Kamala. Pathetic human beings, disgusting, pathetic people. So to me, it makes me feel like, maybe this whole thing really is like kabuki theater, but this is one grand espionage to ascend. And this is.
Why didn't they offer this deal to Kamala? And you notice that in 4 years there was no deal of this offered to them. Nothing, not a single word, no messages, no calls, no meetings. It was Trump in the first term, pause. Trump in the second term. He is the one that's open to it. That's the problem to me.
Well, see, the thing is, if it is a contract or a new charter or a new understanding or agreement. The thing is, we live in the world of communication hypnosis on the internet now. So whatever they say is the truth. And the king really puts out these grand messages, and they're very powerfully produced, and they're very hypnotic. And, when he got his coronation and he gave his message to his realm, I was listening. If you really study the royals, you can kind of see how, insane they are in the sense that, they take it all so literally. So to think that this type of agreement couldn't have major ramifications for we the people, because we as a people are extremely rich. However, we've created this giant artificial debt. But the thing is, no one's in control of these central banks. No one. Our Federal Reserve is totally independent. And all they're the ones who really control the flow of money and what we're buying and spending and maintaining. We have no real voice in what and how the money flows in this country, and no country does.
That's true. Now you're onto something. By the way, I can see Trump is, okay, so let's just set the setting here. Let's just say that this has been in the works for 20 years, 30 years. This has always been there, right? And we know Trump, he's always this person that says, I'm going to go get the JFK files, or I'm going to go and expose things from the government, what have you, whatever. Is it a possibility where he was just let me see what that red folder is, right? In our government, and said, what have you guys been talking about here? Oh, and this is where his ego and maybe where James comes in, and his craziness is that he saw that there was a plan, whatever you can call it, file name, whatever grand plan with the Commonwealth of the Brits, and decided, well, this actually makes sense, knowing that he's under the whole common sense play, you know what I mean? And Trump was going to run with it. Now, I can totally see Trump doing that. I don't know about you guys.
I can see that too, but that shows extreme ignorance.
Totally. And he would be the one that goes and plays it out in front of people, and it's just one of Trump's egomaniac things that he does. And I don't think he'll go through with it, but we are playing Russian roulette. I'm with James with that. One of these could go through, and we would be in big trouble, both as just, obviously as a country, let alone MAGA, you know what I mean, in our reputation and what have you. But I can totally see that playing out in that sense. That he just saw that there was the red folder, that this was a 20-year plan, and this particular piece looks good. I don't know.
Well, the reason why the Palpatine thing comes on to me is because I think about joining the Commonwealth. What president that we ever had could have got that done? Could Joe Biden, could Kamala Harris, could Barack Obama, could George Bush, Carter, or any of the other Bushes, could any of the presidents I can think of ever have achieved that? The answer is no. The answer is there's only one guy who has people like Monica and Brad and Mountain Man that might defend what was said yesterday. And they have. They have said it today where they're like, oh, we're not sure, blah, blah, blah. But if any other politician ever had said those words, it would be immediately destruction and retribution is needed. And that's what I am fearful of, is that Donald Trump has been a useful tool to get the people who would be against it to support it. Because, like I brought it up yesterday, the argument against me was Donald Trump has been shot. He's been arrested. I'm not sure how that argues for joining the Commonwealth.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I didn't know Brad and those folks are not really taking a stance one way or the other, or more so they are taking a stance. I don't know what the situation is.
It's neutrality or somewhat defense.
Yeah, which is basically a yes in a way or whatever. But one other thing I want to throw in there is and this is just another conspiracy again, but who knows at this point, is the Epstein files. Could it be that both players in this have something on each other? And they're like, let's just cancel it out by making this deal. I don't know. I'm throwing that in the mix here.
Listen, Trump and the king are both going to issue.
I don't think so.
They're both.
If Trump had slept with like even a child and they had a videotape on it, I'm thinking to myself, if I was in those shoes and my country was going to die because I fucked up and they were going to blackmail me, you know what I would do? I'm hoping that other people would do it, but I would walk out on TV and I would say, I fucked up, this is what I did, I desire to be hanged and killed so my country exists forever. I would not say, I'm going to sell it out. And I hope that man would follow the same thing. But because I think that means the only option that I have is that if it's not that he's being forced to, if it's not that he's being manipulated and blackmailed, then it is that he desires it himself. And it's for ego. And the ego that Donald Trump has, that we know he has, and I love, I know it can be abused in this way.
See, I mean, they're both going to issue a message, and Prince Charles is going to direct his message to the people of America, and Donald Trump is going to direct his message to the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth of the King's realm. This is like, I don't know what they're doing financially, but I think based on the fact that he made English the national language, that he's going to announce like a grand reunification with the English-speaking people of the Western world, or Australia.
Well, actually, I'm looking at this more now, and it says that the original meetings were with King Charles's offices during the first term. King Charles was not king during the first term, so that means that this was a plan that Prince Charles, or whatever his fucking name was, King Consort Charles, whoever the hell the guy is that's currently in charge, was making with President Trump behind Queen Elizabeth's back.
Well, the now is all important, and we'll just have to wait to hear what Trump says about this. But if this is some type of merger, and it is, I think everybody's jaw is going to be opened, and they're not going to be able to close it because they're not going to believe what they're fucking hearing. And you and I know how communication works and the shit you hear on this app. When Trump and the king say shit and you're like, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Like, I've been conditioned my whole life on 1776, on the Constitution, on Jefferson, and this is impossible. How could this be? And your mouth won't close because you can't believe what you're listening to.
Yeah, he'll lose 80%.
Well, I don't know. In the past year, I've left my Judaism for Republicanism. I still believe in Moses and all the others, but I am truly the faithful of the Republic. So yesterday was like hearing Jesus come out and say God is Satan. It was like hearing the savior of the Republic turn against it. It was the worst words I've ever heard, if I can speak so seriously. There's nothing I've ever seen that was worse than what happened.
I know, James. So let me give you some MAGA reassurance. In these dark hours, you know what I mean. I think we won't be hearing about any of this by the end of next week. I think it's either he's gonna do it or he's not. So if you don't hear anything by the end of next week, I think it's a non-issue. That's my stance on it right now.
Yeah, the king comes next week to meet with President Trump in
What?
Washington, D.C. So after that meeting, we will know. I still don't like the idea of the king even fucking coming here. We should be meeting with the prime minister, the elected fucking people. But no, we're meeting with the goddamn king.
See, the thing that I just trips me is like, even if you have conspiracies about a one world government or a one world currency or the digital Fed coin and all these types of like integration things.
Well, you just brought up another thing. What's up with Trump and the crypto shit? All of a sudden, it makes more fucking sense to me now. I thought it was just he's trying to get some people to vote for him. He's not. It's definitely interconnected into the central fucking crap that the UK wants, which is a centralized Commonwealth currency that is a cryptocurrency. That's what they've been trying to do. And that's why he's adopted this over the past 4 years. In fact, Elon Musk is the one I blame for this currently. So, yes, I agree people are correct. Elon Musk is a fucking traitor.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, go to his X account. I mean, I don't think he's a traitor. I've been following him on Adrian Dittman, and he's doing real, actual, not investigative auditing, but he's doing forensic auditing with Doge. And he is essentially, we talked about this yesterday, that he's like the new IT for the federal government. And what he's really doing is data extraction. He's trying to take out what's valuable and keep what's valuable, because if you're really serious about paying the debt, you have to essentially scuttle everything that's worthless and keep only the valuable, elements of the network or of this what we call agencies. I mean, they shut down the Department of Education. That's huge, and HUD and all these other big agencies could be next. So they're trying to salvage, and I don't think he's a traitor. I think that he's his wizard, and that I'm a positive optimist. I don't want to gossip about people. I mean, the thing is, if you go to Adrian Dittman on X right now, you can see Musk is all into magic memes now, and he's practicing what he calls cognitive security. So he's opening up rooms still that are unrecorded. And if you want to listen to the inner mind of Musk, he used to be on this app, and he will project and talk and motor mouth for an hour, almost, when he goes live, but it's much rarer now. And he seems like he's in a good place psychologically. I think Trump is in a great place psychologically.
Yeah, I disagree. I think you've been distracted. I think that all this stuff that they've been doing has been the big fucking look at this, while we sell the country to the United Kingdom. I now see that Elon Musk, right, that South African stuff is connected directly to these 12 Germanic tribes. His last name and fucking everything is connected straight to it. He has the exact same type of egocentric crap where he wants to join them. It's a huge problem that we all... the only way I can describe it is the left wing has been yelling about white supremacists. This is not rednecks in the woods. This is the actual, real, true, serious formation of the ideology that has ever existed, and that is the royals, the supremacy of Europe. Over America.
Listen, 9/11 and the deployment, if you want to bring Doc back up, but he probably served with British soldiers in Iraq or Afghanistan. And I personally like British soldiers. I think they're very smart, very sharp, and good people, and funny, and they speak English. So I'm not like an anti-British person. I think they're wonderful people and much better people than a lot of the other pieces of shit we let into this country. So I'm not like anti-English speaking people personally. I mean, that's who I think we live in an English industrial complex. That's my opinion.
No, I was not a sleeper cell. Donald Trump's the sleeper cell.
I'm just kidding with you. That'd be pretty
I don't make enough money to be a sleeper cell. I'm just a poor person who all of a sudden has seen everything I've worked for transformed in a Saturday off of one fucking tweet. They warned us about that part, that he was going to tweet us into fucking oblivion.
But look at George Bush when he says, New World Order. I mean, does that imply essentially a Freemasonic New World Order with the King of England at the head of this Masonic realm? Because, I mean, Bush, Dr. CIA, I mean, like, if he killed Kennedy or he was there, like, see, the thing is, you can ask Trump, like, well, what was the information? Who killed Kennedy? I mean, if you listen to Robert F. Kennedy's interview with Bill Maher on his podcast, whatever it is on YouTube, he goes into great detail about the people that killed his dad and probably killed his father. And it's like, we have this massive industrial complex. The CIA is vast. I mean, the budget is massive annually. So, well, how are they going to reconstruct, or where are the arrests? Have you heard of anybody that ever got arrested for any of this? I never have. Not Russiagate, not nothing. Nobody's ever been arrested. I mean, that's why I say it's like kabuki theater.
What they make the Mossad connection a lot with JFK, but they don't make the MI6 connection. MI6 didn't even exist officially until, 2007, 2008? So that's the reason the connection was ever made. But MI6 100% had the hand in killing JFK.
I don't know. I mean, see, the thing is, we're dealing with...
You speak to people on here about, the royals and the kings, you'll hear them say it's symbolic, it's ceremonial, it's blah, blah, blah. They've actually convinced people. These 1,000-year-old families have convinced people that they have no power. We're just here for show. It's like Mickey Mouse. No, it's not like fucking Mickey Mouse. They control nations. They control religions. They control militaries. They control banks. They have more power than me and you could ever, ever, ever dream of. So if they do ceremonial, then what the fuck are we...
Well, I gotta say, the royal family has their own YouTube, their own Instagram. They're like the Kardashians, but with nuclear weapons. So to think that they're not, playing games, I think is amateur hour in terms of awareness. I don't know where you live or who anybody is, but to think that that MI6 and British intelligence doesn't have feelers everywhere and isn't actively trying to shape and mold things for their benefit. I mean, it's obvious, but that's why I say this is going to be like a contract and then press releases and everybody's just going to be like, I can't believe this. Whoa, is this espionage real time? Because the whole thing with Epstein and Trump, I mean, he was best friends with Epstein. So many photos with Epstein. So it's and Epstein was best friends with Prince Andrew. They were running honeypots and they're having fun. It's kind of fun. I never ran a honeypot myself, but if you're worth $500 million and you got an island and everybody's topless in the sun having a gay old time, that's a pretty good place to be in my opinion. And so it's not even if Kash Patel has the videos, this is crazy politics. It's insane. It's unbelievable.
So do you think, Doctor, that there's some possible blackmail maybe going on too?
That's why I say I don't think it's blackmail. I think it's like destiny almost. It's like mind virus. It's like a mind virus. It's not even we got you on camera and you're going to do what we... It's you're one of us now. You see, that's maybe more of the thing where it's transmutation psychologically. Where it's they don't just own it's they own your soul, they own your mind. That's how deep intelligence could go when you're talking about the national level.
What you're doing is called rationalization. It's like when your loved one kills somebody. You think, oh, maybe he was forced to, maybe he did this, maybe he was that, maybe he was drunk. Maybe your loved one's just a fucked up person. Maybe that's what happened to us.
I don't know. I just don't trust King Charles, and I don't trust his mother. I think she's the Iron Maiden, and you can see these little grannies, and they're so cute with their bonnets, and they're shaking hands and saying hello, hello. Don't think for a second that woman isn't highly she's very intelligent, and I'm talking in a way that is mystical and dark. They know the dark arts. I mean, his mural of him in blood in his big showing for his big mural painting, he calls himself Vlad the Impaler, and he goes to Transcarpathia. So we are talking about a man who could have the malevolent spirit of the universe in him, and this is grand chess game, and this is grand politic. This is 2025 politic. But where does this leave Europe? Because Europe is technically supposed to be republic.
Well, that's the problem with us as Americans, is we live under this idea that most places out there, specifically our allies, work like us and think like us. I live in Missouri. Missouri's not talking about taking over Illinois. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a shit about Kansas. Nobody gives a fuck about Iowa. And we assume that Europe works the same way. It turns out that they do not work that way. And that they do operate to topple each other. And that includes us, that they do want to topple us because they believe themselves to be supreme. They don't see the ideology of equality. And in fact, so when I get to the 12 tribes stuff, the reason why I say these royal families from different tribes have allied together, because they have their kingdoms and it's built on their rule, their bloodline, their lineage. But our kingdom is built on voting. And that means it's a threat to every single one of them. So they can fight over it, and they have been fighting over the pie for 10,000 or so years. Only now does our republic exist, which gives every single one of them threats. They have united together the Japanese elite, the Jewish elite, the Germanic elite, being Europeans, their Arabic elite. All these elitist groups have allied together with one goal, and that is to take down the United States of America. And that starts with me and you as the citizens.
So wait, if he signs a compact with the Commonwealth, does that mean? I mean, the criticism will be that on the flip end or the back end, he's going to get Trump Towers in every single major Commonwealth, and the Bank of England is going to back $100 billion build out of Trump Towers. But to me, the brand is like so damaged, and with Elon and Tesla, it's like, I can't believe it, but that's the thing. It's like, if they got the money, they want to spend it because it's just money out of thin air.
Well, there's one elite group that I left out when I was talking there, and that's America's elite. And who works for Donald Trump now? I mean, the left called it out. I didn't want to believe it. But right now, Donald Trump has more of America's elite in his administration than anything before. And now he's calling the European elites to discuss trade deals. And he's calling the Saudi princes so he can dance with them with swords. And Japanese guys are coming over saying, hey, we love you. You're great, Mr. President. People, we've been fucking tricked. I'm saying it. We've been motherfucking tricked.
So you could say it's all trade because like it opens up America to the Commonwealth and the Commonwealth or America to the Commonwealth to America, meaning like we don't have 1-to-1 parity, and like this is espionage in the sense that like if he does cut them a deal, that's why I'm saying like you may be taking it too literally when you say I'll be up in arms in response, because this is going to be communication that you're fighting against. And a lot of people are going to like just brush it off and be like, yeah, okay, we'll believe it when we see it.
But we just had somebody in chat say something stupid, that the elite are Jewish. There are Jewish elites, yes, of their 12 Hebrew tribes. There are then also 12 families of Germanic elites that come from Europe, right? That's what the House of Windsor is. That's what the king is, one of those elite families. Then there's the Arab elite, another 12-tribe structure. And that is the Saudi princes, UAE, Kuwait, Qatar. Then you go over to Japan. And again, 12 motherfucking tribes for no reason. I don't know why. I can't tell you the reason why there's 12 tribes. All I can tell you is that's the basis of their power structure. There's 12 tribes get together, and the guy who controls more tribes through the kingship or emperor is the one who's in charge. And that's what has happened. These people have gotten together to destroy our country. And it's not the first time. What do you think happened in World War II? The reason Yamamoto and Japan got with Hitler was to destroy America. Why? Because they were elitist royals.
Well,
we didn't actually win World War II.
It doesn't destroy the infrastructure or the people. It destroys our independence and our liberty from being ruled by a king and not choosing our elected leaders to govern and provide for we the people. That's the thing. It's like you could sell. Anyways, you can't call Trump a traitor until you read the documentation.
I disagree. I think the words alone from the person who is sitting in the office of president is enough of offense to me that I don't have forgiveness for him. He has at least knocked himself down to a C, and I don't see him ever going past that C again.
I know, but don't you believe in evidence and a trial? Like this is the thing: this will be kabuki theater, like unbelievable. Because if the Senate tries Trump, and they impeach him on this issue, and that's what I'm saying. Like this could be like international espionage at the highest level ever imaginable, which would be like the Republic falling without a war. It would be incredible. Chessmanship, like this would be the chessmate, this would be the checkmate, this would be the biggest most thing people. That's why I say it's like comes like a thief in the night. Everybody's just like, can't believe this, like what?
Well, why do you think like FDR and all these foreign loyalists have been like creating social programs, mandatory spending, social security, all these things? They were all created to weaken us, to get us to this point now where the guy could come in and say, hey, we're like everybody's been saying, it's to eliminate the debt. Who created the fucking debt? The very same people who are saying they can save us. Very same foreign loyalists and Europeans who say, hey, if you join us, we'll make it better. They're the ones that infiltrated our country with influence and caused this to happen.
Well, if you watch the votes,
insane people.
the vote.
Joe Tony, go ahead. Doctor, hold on.
Well, what he's saying is true, that they could cancel the debt over there, the people that he's getting involved with, if that happens to be true. I think we should give him a little more time this week to see how he reacts to this massive pushback from his core group of people, and he should come back and really say something strong and powerful that separates himself from that whole ideology. If he doesn't do anything at all to fix this, and he just lets that float around in the air, then that's going to make me nervous, and I'm not going to like where that's going. He really needs to step out this week and speak against this and really clarify everything, because if this is really happening behind the scenes and any of this stuff is real, this is very, very troubling for me.
But we were talking about how does he sell it? And I think it's pretty easy to technically sell anything because it's all hypnosis. If he says, we fought with them in Normandy and I was see, you can make the whole historical tie to World War II and just say that's the explanation why, everybody. And everybody's like, well, okay, pretty good reason, I guess.
But they're going to support it anyway, and then there's going to be people like Monica who would say something like, well, he was shot, I trust Trump. That's what I've been hearing people say, actually. I trust Trump. You trust Trump to lead us into the fucking British Commonwealth. I trust him a lot, but I do not trust him to lead us into the Commonwealth. That's like saying, hey, Trump wants to go into hell and fight the devil. Who's signing up? Not me.
Right. We don't follow blindly, like the other side does. Although, some people really love Trump so much that he can do no wrong. But we just can't blindly support him. The Europe's policies are completely backwards and opposite of the policies that Trump is trying to get everybody to believe in. By joining sides with them, he really would be. I mean, this would be like going over to the dark side, and it would just be like throwing everything away, and he's going to lose his core supporters. And it doesn't make sense at this point why he would do this so early. Be willing to, if he had these agendas, secret agendas, and he really had this plan, like, I think he should wait closer to the end of his term and then pull all this stuff out and screw us all. Why is he doing it right now?
Well, I found a better analogy. Yesterday and today, Monica's been calling me mentally ill because of this, because I've been having this reaction. And I feel more like the Bad Batch from Star Wars, where all the other clones around me, all the other MAGA, are shooting the Jedi, and I'm standing there with my rifle going, what the hell are you guys doing? And that's what it really feels like. It feels like if you look on the internet, it's actually only a small portion of us that are this outraged. Most people are either let's wait or don't give a care at all.
Because they know it's so mercurial and Trump could be trolling. But if the whole thing deals with trade, meaning like they get access to us, we get access to them, as opposed to like supremacy, or acquiescence or some type of revisionist history or something, like, I don't know, I can pull up Jefferson and you can read the Declaration of Independence and you're like, how can, like, this could, I mean, it's illegal if they actually attempt to do it,
this is what I'm hearing. I've heard people on the right, MAGA specifically, make this argument. Well, it's ceremonial, it's only for economics. It would be good. I've heard them actually argue in favor of these words. And people in red hats, just like us, who argued in favor, it really is like watching the clones. The chip in their head got flipped on, and they're ready to march, and the rest of us are standing back.
So
going, what the fuck is going on?
We could ask ChatGPT, but what are the major treaties, like the Treaty of 1871, or like what is the actual all the legal documentation with regards to the king and Congress? Because they're going to like pitch a legal battle. This isn't going to be a military conflict. This is like a legal battle because these fuckers still think, they actually never surrendered the war. Like the war never technically ended. So it's like, what's in the legal history, essentially?
Yeah, and if there's that discussion, if the discussion is anything beyond fuck there's a problem.
I mean, we could look up all the major treaties and everything, and then like see like what they're trying to do.
We're in a couple of like Commonwealth type states, not states, but like agreements with the British Commonwealth or with the UK, Australia, Canada. So what the fuck is the point of this? I see absolutely zero benefit for Donald Trump when it comes to political points in America. But then again, what's he needing for anymore? He's unused all the points he can. He's gained everything he can from us. And in fact, when he was living here with us, guess what? He was being vilified, accused of rape, attacked. Guys, it's possible he hates us now. It's possible he hates the people that have done this to him. And that includes that he can't see the line blurred between me and you and them.
Well, that's what George Carlin says. He says, maybe the politicians don't suck, maybe you suck. Because where do you think these politicians come from? They come from you, meaning the public sucks in America.
And then he goes and talks to the Royals, and they're like, we would never shoot you. We treat you nice. We give you, nice, good marble floors. And you get men with you. You get immunity. You'd never be arrested with us, but in our republic, where his ego would not be. I don't know. You get what I'm saying here is that he's used us as much as he can, and he has been abused in this nation as a leader. Whereas part of the royal family is a Duke of Edinburgh or whatever the fuck. He wouldn't be abused at all. He'd just be some faceless no-name sitting on the side with a lot of power.
I don't know. It gets too confusing because it's like he won, and I honestly thought that Kamala and Waltz were gonna win because Dominion was gonna fake the election, and you see Alex Soros running around taking selfies with everybody, and you're like, is he the puppet master? Is Soros the puppet master? And then no, Trump wins, and it's like it's got to be a double-edged sword where it's like either it didn't matter who won. It just like the pandemic. This is, the Commonwealth demic. I mean, this is like the next new scheme to pull the rug, and shock everybody with reunification.
So this is what I'm saying. I think this has already been in the works for many decades, and it would be like something that Trump would do. Like he was, he's the kind of person, like I said, that would be like the first to do that, whatever it is. Fill in the blank, right? I mean,
he's the only one who could accomplish it.
Yeah, so that's problematic, and I get that. Like, he was the first to move the capital to Jerusalem. Like all these presidents said they would do it, and like there's all that stuff. So it's like one of those kind of events where it's like, he has a chance to do something like this. To him, that's historic. But to us, it's like, okay, well, hold on a second. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at here a little bit. This is something that Trump kind of fits in his wheelhouse, which can be kind of scary. I get that,
This is like the Holy Roman Empire, because
it's a decision I do not trust this man with. That's the main point I actually have here. Like you're saying, he's a man who just does stuff that other people haven't done. He thinks I can be the first, and this is a decision, a choice that I do not trust Donald Trump to have the control of. The United States joining the Commonwealth, it feels like he would make the wrong choice. And his words yesterday already show that he might.
I understand that. Go ahead, Tone. You're going to say something.
I was just going to say, I just really have so much trouble with trying to make sense out of why Trump would do this. He must be thinking, okay, King Charles can do us some favors with the Federal Reserve. We can get a lot of cuts on that. We can cut down our deficit in these areas. He can get these other countries that are part of the Commonwealth to play ball with the whole tariff thing. And he must be thinking of this in some kind of monetary thing, that this is going to help his plan that he's trying to tell everybody that he's pushing, because it doesn't seem like he's really thinking about this at all on the other side, which is the bigger deal. And I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt on this, right? Like he's thinking that I can use these connections here, and this will, back off our debt this much. They'll cooperate. In his mind, he's going to say, they'll never get me to turn on this. They'll never get me to turn on this. But he doesn't realize, it must be that he doesn't realize that by even entertaining something like this, that this is just going to cause a massive division with his core voters. And I'm like trying to think of it like trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that he must, in his mind, have some plan, this talking to King Charles and working out deals, working with the Federal Reserve behind the scenes through King Charles, because he's got a lot of pull with that. Those families do. So there must be something going on with it.
I know James doesn't want to hear this, but let's hope the best case scenario is we're just seeing Trump's business side. You know what I mean? Trying to strike the little deals on the edges. You know what I mean? Not going for the big pie that we all think he might be going for here. So let's just hope that's the case. Even though, James, I know you say, let's not even go there. Let's not even talk about any kind of trades or any kind of deal with these folks. But I have to go with the the Trump's business side. I mean, all he's shown is that so far, to me at least. You know what I mean? He's always been a deal maker. He's always maintained the same. I don't know why we wouldn't want to give him the benefit of the doubt in this situation, like Tone is saying a little bit. I'm just saying, I'm trying to look for the good in this, in the sense of getting out of this situation, if there's anything, that's nefariously going on. So I don't know what people think about that, but
I just now thought about it, right? He's been arrested, he's been shot at, his family's been shot at, people he knows been shot at, mega donors, plane shot down. Maybe he has been threatened. Maybe it's a complete and utter fucking threat. Maybe they're like, hey, you do this or you die, and everybody died. And they displayed it to him. They shot him. He felt the sting of a bullet and knows that their word has a true meaning to it. So there's a possibility that they are holding this man hostage. January 6th, after that, they said that there was 2 hours before Trump was able to sing the message out. The reason why is, they don't tell you this, I know this, that Trump was in Secret Service protective custody, which means he was under arrest. They never said it, they never told anybody. It's one of the greatest things ever. They arrested him that day and took him into custody for that stuff. We don't know what happened in those 2 hours. And then all of a sudden he came out and he made that video. Hey, it's time to leave. And that was the courtyard of the White House where he was being held in, where they had moved him to protective custody. The reason they took him into custody is because he wanted to head over to the Capitol building. So they forced him into protective custody at that point and had to hold him under arrest. But we know he's been under arrested multiple times, held captive, kids held captive, and shot at. So yeah, maybe the possibility that this is very literally just the evidence. 8 years. 8 years. Why was it a secret 8 years? All through the 8 years, all the shit we saw. I think we've seen the fucking big plan, and maybe this is why he exposed it. He exposed it to say, come at me, bitch.
Yeah, I don't think he's really that fearful of death at this point. The thing that he fears most is his legacy being tarnished. He wants to be remembered as the greatest hero in the history of the world. And,
Well, it doesn't matter how great of a man you are. If you have kids and grandkids, you do care about death.
Right. Well, if they take but for his own personal life, you get shot at enough times, people come at you all the ways they came at him. You're just not going to care anymore. He wants to be remembered. He wants the legacy. He wants that name to be remembered. I saved America. I'm the greatest hero, the greatest president of all time. That's what he wants to be remembered as. And if he doesn't, and that's just all a show that he makes us want to think that, then there really could be some dark, nefarious thing.
I mean, you don't hear how crazy it sounds to say that? It's just a show. It's a big plan. It's a master plan. Trust Trump. You don't see how fucking nuts it is to think that with the words he said? I'll say it again. 1,500 years, 1,500 years, these people have been murdering, killing, raping, and destroying to ensure that their country exists and that their crown stands on top. They're not going to stop now. They didn't stop yesterday. They're not going to stop tomorrow.
I'm not in disagreement with what's going on with that family over there. I'm just in a disagreement with how far maybe you're going with that idea this soon. And I understand the frustration. I get it completely, but I think we should give him a little bit of time to clarify this. And if this is what's going on and he's not ashamed of it and he's proud of it, then I think at that point we can get a little bit more serious.
I want to say the reason why I'm going so hard so soon is because I've identified this problem. I didn't see Trump as a problem, but I've identified the foreign loyalty problem for quite a long time now. And I've been talking about it on this app, this exact stuff. The Commonwealth thing specifically, how they were talking, I heard the rumors of them over there talking about it. And he's saying, that's not going to fucking happen. Fuck you. How dare you say that? Trump will never let that happen. And then yesterday, it was just like a shock. I have a photographic memory, so I remember most of the things that any of us have ever said in the conversations we've had. If you at least tell me who you are. I don't know how to describe it. Geographic memory, audiographic memory, whatever it is. It also works that same way. And so I remember saying it as soon as I heard him say those words to all you people over and over and over and over and over and over that Trump. He's going to be the guy to stop them. And then he yesterday betrayed every word that I've ever said. It made me feel like a dumbass. And that's the reason why now, I don't know how to describe it to you, but it is literally like the chip broke and I'm awake.
It's kind of like the thing with the COVID shot and how he walked back away from that. Like he seems so disconnected from that. And, there's other things that that he's like that on certain other things too. But I mean, it's not impossible for him just to be that disconnected from the reality of what that means, to go speak to King Charles, because
if he doesn't know the reality of what that means, then that's a big problem.
Absolutely, I agree.
There are 10-year-olds who know the reality.
If he goes there,
and I don't think that Trump is some genius and like a historical genius. So it wouldn't be put it past me that he doesn't understand all the intricacies of that relationship. You know what I mean? So it easily could be he stepped into it. It could just be that, and hopefully someone will pull him back. But go ahead, Doctor. Yeah.
I mean,
there's a reason it was hidden for 8 years. There's a reason they had it a secret for 8 years, guys. 8 years, and they held it away and didn't tell any of us about it. I feel like a tripwire. I feel like a C4, and they just sent a C4 off. Boom.
So
I'm just the first guy today. It's okay. In the next week or 2 weeks, if they don't say anything and they
James, what if they don't have? What if they don't have blackmail on him, and he's just playing them and playing the media, and he actually does launch an attack on the Panama Canal, and he declares himself, as his presidency. He doesn't need to say he's emperor, and he can play hard. And he's not. I don't see. The thing is, if he just goes there and takes that invite that Starmer showed him, that's like pathetic. That's weak. Trump is like next level. He's like, I don't care if you're a king. Like, I'm not gonna fly over there to have a meeting with you to essentially let you frame the conversation. If you want to come to America, you could come address our Congress. Let's see what that moment might come. Benjamin Netanyahu gets to come here and address the Congress. So I can't see why King Charles isn't going to come here and pitch his case. Because King Charles also has to build goodwill. So this whole thing is like a PR campaign, a communication endeavor, an indoctrination, and a mass hypnosis. So, this is the beginning of it. That's why I say Alex Jones didn't launch this concept. You and I talked about it at length before Jones even started publishing his videos on X, which got millions and millions of views. But all the other articles didn't go viral. They didn't. And when I Googled it, I was like, this is shocking. Like, this is not registering on all the other platforms. So, whatever's going to happen, I mean, I would say that, there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe, and that chess games are real, and you win chess games via espionage.
Well, it's like yesterday on X even, the only person I actually saw talking about it was Alex Jones and Alex Jones that follow Alex. All the other political commentators, every single one that, you think, is this a real, I thought about it, are these real people or are these bots? Every single one of them was talking about fucking soda. Getting paid to talk about soda or some shit. That was the story yesterday. That there was a scandal that a bunch of commentators were getting paid to promote Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
That was the influencer list, right? That's what I just remember what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. And for some reason, that was the news. That was the headline. All over social media, that was it. And it's like, how did this get skipped over? I don't understand what the fuck just happened.
Word will get back around to him, even though it wasn't spread all over like maybe we hoped it would have been. But word will get back to him, and let's just see how he reacts to it, and how far does he want to dig into this? Does he want to plant his flag on this? And that'll tell us a lot.
I think we have a catch safe with, I don't know, James, if you think that, I think J.D. Vance could be the pushback for this. I think he's smart enough to know what's going on, that this is not right, So
I have no idea.
People a little better. I don't know. What do you say?
I don't trust J.D. Vance. I don't trust him from the moment he started.
I like J.D. I think J.D.'s, just a bit smarter than Trump.
He definitely is. I just don't know enough about him yet.
I don't know. I think he might know, but I just like to think that maybe maybe even his own sons. We'll see about that, but somebody will get his ear, and it'll all be corrected, and this won't be a non-issue. I think by the end of the week, I think everything's going to be corrected. But that's me.
I think so too. I think there will be a walk back by the end of the week. I mean, we've made enough noise here on Clubhouse, and all of Clubhouse at least talk about this. So that's a good thing there. So this platform has at least talked about the subject, and that's us that did that. So good job, guys.
So where does this leave like George Bush and all this? Because like you see how Bush doesn't get on with Trump. You know, he like scoffs at him at these funerals and things like that. Like where does that leave the political elites in this country and the American billionaires elites in this country? Like, are they for it? Are they against it? Is there going to be
You've
friction?
clearly never seen like an aristocrat ball before. They hate each other, but they still work together and are friends. Of course, Bush gives them this like ladies at a ball. You know, they come up, your dress is beautiful, and then they like look away and walk off all pompous. That's what you're looking at. They look like us because they wear regular clothes, but they're still those weird cheese people.
My message to the American people, my fellow Americans, with the recent Trump reunification plan, we hope that you will come to Heathrow soon and visit your new partner. We thank you, my fellow Americans. This is King Charles, your new king. God bless, and see you all this upcoming Christmas. Like, I mean, it's hypnosis. It requires mass hypnosis. And I think the tone or whoever mentioned how Trump never really pushed back on the vaccines, I think that's all you really need to know, that it is all about making money and maybe population control. But they impacted the baby boomers and the older generation. They sacrificed their health. So it's like all these pensions and all this debt, like maybe it just dies off with premature death. And it's a horrible thing to say or to ponder, but what is it called? The outlier deaths that they say just like keep going up and up and up. There's a term they use for it. But anyways, I'm just saying that the now is all important. And man, I see this is the thing. How do you sell this to the military even? How do you sell this to the generals? But see, all the generals are just like, we have no famous generals. General Flynn is the only famous general we have. Everybody else is like a sellout or they don't want to be known. So it's like maybe there will be rebellion against, giving the country into a merger or something. Like, that's the thing. It's like we the people won't get to vote on the merger. It'll be big. It's just the Senate or like I'm telling you, we the people in this country are totally fucked. I think it's just the banking industry, to tell you the truth. It got so big. Like go anywhere and you'll see four of the biggest banks next to everything. And you're like, damn, that's a lot of office space for an accounting system, and they don't make anything. And that's just what you see at the retail commercial level.
I have a quote from Donald Trump's book here that I think is pretty relevant. It's his book, Art of the Deal. Or it's at least one of his books. I forget which one it is. And he's talking about being a boss of a massive company and how you get people to operate right. How you balance for being a good person and being a good boss. And the quote starts and it says that sometimes you must become the bad guy that you hate to inspire good men to rise against you. That's what Donald Trump's quote said. And is that not what he has done yesterday? What you're describing as like General Flynn and them coming against him, maybe that's what it is. Maybe he needs to become the bad guy that he hates to inspire good men to rise against you.
I mean, the government operates off of compliance, and his cabinet and everybody working for all those agencies, the millions of people, I mean, they have direct email access now to the White House. Prior to that, the succession of communication was not really one-to-one. I mean, when Elon has sent out these 2 emails to all federal employees to test them to see if they'll respond, I mean, they know. What I'm saying is they've reestablished the network, and this is like this org chart is getting pruned, and changes are happening, and it's what we need. It is libertarian in essence, but what we can't really, I think, figure out is if the IRS takes in $5 trillion a year, supposedly, and it's costing us $100 billion a year plus to generate 5 trillion, and we're still our deficit is still in the like 2 trillion a year, and that just the interest is $1 trillion, and the National Defense Authorization Act is $1 trillion, and Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security is $1 trillion plus. It's like it's so bankrupt that like the rest of the world may be like, this is unsustainable, you'll never pay us back our debt. Like China knows it. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like a big Ponzi scheme, and so the accounting is all just fraudulent, and there is no auditing, and even Doge in itself is nothing more than a publishing little snippet. Like there's no
Well, you know
real.
how I think we defeat this? After listening to you say this, I think the way that we defeat this is we can go to China and Russia and we say, hey, we want to enter the United States into BRICS. I think we enter BRICS. I think we join BRICS as well as our own market, and that way we stay dominant. BRICS succeeds, they do better, we do better. I think that we should enter the United States into BRICS along with Russia and China.
Yeah, but BRICS just competes with SWIFT. So what you'd be saying is we would let BRICS. I mean, I don't know. Like that's interesting.
It would undercut the European dollar. I don't care about the European dollar in their markets or anything like that. What I care about is the American dollar and our markets. In the Russian, China markets, they're republics at least, and they're almost 3 times, 4 times more successful than all the European countries combined.
Well, banks are bigger than ever before. Obama bailed them out. We bailed them out with the HEROES Act because the biggest asset management platform in the world is maintained at BlackRock, which is called Aladdin. So when the Federal Reserve gets a bill from Congress for the HEROES Act for $1 trillion, they go to Aladdin and they say, okay, we want to buy $1 trillion worth of your most toxic debt. Give it to us. And then they fill the bank accounts up at BlackRock with the $1 trillion, and they buy a useless asset in some kind of junk debt bond form. So this is like the masters of the dollar. But other banks do the same thing, and they try to keep parity with us. Like these economists and scientists, they are trying to do one-to-one currency manipulation, and really that's the forex market. And it's done at the central state bank level. Anyways, I mean, I'm saying there's not a speck of dust out of place in the universe, and like all fake news, this will be a nothing burger soon. And I have yet to see an actual something burger on this app or even in the news. Everything is just calendar based or cyclical. Like it's always a nothing burger. The only real thing burger is like when a nuclear bomb pops off or like major rockets attack. Like any kind of military stuff is real, and everything else is just like political hypnosis.
Yeah, I just hope it gets walked back by the end of the week. I mean, I just the word yesterday alone, they just give me such pause, and not just that, it's just the silence. It really is the silence from the left-wing media, who should be using this as their greatest weapon ever. And they're just like, ooh, we're not going to do anything. It feels like complicit almost.
But they're multinational. CNN and all these.
Going with them, though, man. This is on their side. This is not something they would complain about, really. Ultimately,
they're multinational corporations. They transcend state patriotism and nationalism. They're not nationalistic or patriotic. They just believe in making dollars globally through the publishing and advertising industry. They could give two shits about our sovereignty.
Well, maybe ironically, this is actually true. And the one time the fake news doesn't pick it up and run with it for what it is. I don't know. What's your take on that, Tone? Maybe this,
Yeah, that makes sense. With this particular issue, why wouldn't they push this when they could bury him with this amongst his own supporters?
Exactly. It makes no sense.
The connection is, if you want to say Skull and Bones or the Skull and Crossbones connection, like to Germanic or to Germany and to American Germans and English Germans, because, you know, the House of Windsor or King Charles, his, you know, ancient medieval term or name is that Sath Cogburn Socks or whatever the fuck it is. We looked it up yesterday. The point is, it could be German. It's technically German espionage or decentralized German espionage. And, you know, Adam Stillwell and all these losers, like Lieutenant Colonel Vimont, all these losers. I don't even think they're intelligent enough to understand like the historical legacy to this conspiracy if it has any validity. But like if you are a patriotic American, I mean, you're an independent third party, and the fact that there's German espionage and English espionage at the royal family level impacting our national sovereignty, tied into with Epstein and Prince Andrew and Bill Gates and everybody else, like was this a grand design? Like was this always I never heard of this concept. Like to me this is all just like I can't believe this. Like if this was actually, planned and it is a conspiracy, it's like far out. Like I never saw this coming.
Absolutely. If it's true, this is some ancient. This is a destiny. You know what I'm saying? It's biblical, prophetic. I mean, it goes deep, and it's crazy to think about it. But it's not like this is just popping up now. But this is been in the works, and if it's real, then it's both sides are elites on both sides. This is their ultimate end game. So if this is true and there's some sort of conspiracy, and it's a massive conspiracy to just make a one world government type of thing and trick everybody into going along with it, then that is in their papers and their books going back for 100 years. I mean, Europe, America, all over the world, and they do ultimately, if that's true, they are ultimately all on the same side with the same ultimate goal in mind, where along the road they'll pick fights with each other and have disagreements, but if their ultimate goal really is the same, then that's what we would need to worry about.
Yeah, I think that is just the furthest from happening. I mean, Trump won everything based off the fact that he's against everything that we're mentioning, So, I mean, and that's how he won the first term, too. So, I just, like I said, like we said, I just don't see why he would even go down this road. I know it's his last term and what have you, but I think in order for him to submit his legacy in that sense, there's really no reason to be doing this. Right. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense at all, because he ran both times like he's against the system. We're draining the swamp. We're going against this. The way the direction that the world is going, I'm not for that. I'm against it. And if this is true, then that means he's joining up with it. And it doesn't make sense why he would do it at this point of time in his current run as president. It doesn't make sense why he would pull something this big out of the bag right at the beginning.
I don't know. This one to me feels like a puzzle piece.
He pulls out the big thing and then invites 2 years from now when the midterms come, then it's all died down.
This just seems to me like global puzzle making or global puzzle piecing, and it doesn't seem coincidental to me. And the fact that the mass media puts out the articles like a shotgun, like Sinclair Media style, seems to me to be coordinated to introduce it into the consciousness. And I'm not saying we're the butterfly effect. I think we're just like ahead of the curve in terms of analysis. And I've been doing, political analysis and sports analysis. I mean, just basically gossip analysis, celebrity gossip analysis for like a long time. And this is technically just like celebrity gossip, because the billionaires, they're supranational. I mean, they're global, and I'm not in that crowd. And so it's like we're just like ants, trying to analyze the supranational level. Like the national deficit is insignificant to a globalist who's worth $100 billion. Like it's just one giant fucking game. But it's not a game really to like a patriotic, nationalistic American who's been conditioned on sovereignty and liberty and constitution and eternal separation. Eternal separation is eternal separation. It's not we're going to renegotiate and come to some type of a new compact. Like we are independent completely and totally. And if the thing is, we all know how corrupt Congress is and how spineless they are. There's only two people, or 3 or 4 people in the entire government that you can actually trust, who aren't just total sellouts completely and always will be. I mean, Thomas Massey to me is like 1 in a trillion, and Rand Paul, like, these are gems, and everybody else is just rotted meat. I mean, there's only so much intelligence. I mean, when you look at Maxine Waters, that bitch will put a crown on and say, we're the Republic no more. We join the motherfucking Commonwealth. God bless the king. You know, like, she'll sell out right away. Like, a lot of these people will just say, fuck it, we back. Like, they will, because they'll get a check. I mean, that's the way it works.
You know, the thing about that Emperor Palpatine connection, I just remembered this is, you know, he was talking that game one way, and it really was like as soon as they made him the new emperor or the chancellor or whatever, he came right in and pulled a massive move right out of the gate that just completely surprised all of the Jedis, all the people that had his back originally. And, you know, I know that sounds just a conspiracy or whatever, but somebody had made that connection with him, and he did come right in, and it didn't make any sense, and he flipped the script right out of the gate. And so if Trump was to do that, it just would be so disappointing, so upsetting. It's going to go against his core group of voters. It's going to screw over America. We would be joining this bigger system that we were trying to, you know, break. We're trying to destroy. We're trying to make America great again and be separate from all of these agendas and world policies. And it just would seem like he just really screwed us and just betrayed us if this is in fact what he's thinking about. I just really hope that he comes out and squashes this week.
Congress has betrayed the American people for 20 fucking years, 30 fucking years. We're 40 trillion in debt. They gave it away. They lied to us every step of the way. From JFK to 9/11 to COVID-19, it's been one giant fucking scam. Like, Congress and these... do you know how many people should be arrested for treason in this country? But it's impossible.
So he said...
That's right. For some reason it's impossible. They didn't say it. They've said it like 1,000 times. Where, oh, this person could be treason, but it's impossible to charge it. And so what do you fucking mean it's impossible?
Meaning that, like, technically, if you want to charge somebody with treason, it's technically a citizen's arrest.
Yeah, I just hope it gets walked back because, I mean, like we said here, and it does seem, and it is ancient. I'm not sure if it's biblical, if it's, I mean, it's ancient, whatever the hell it is. But we forget that as Americans because we're so brand new, we're little babies. We forget that those people over there have been with their structure for thousands of years, granddad on granddad on granddad on granddad on granddad on granddad on granddad, going back to fucking ancient times before they even had writing of their granddads running the place. So it's like, we're up against a big, powerful fucking thing, and we sometimes forget.
You know, Trump does sometimes just seem to, like, even the people that go after him, he still wants to get along with them at times. Like, you remember the funeral for Jimmy Carter, and he's sitting over there with Obama for an hour laughing and cutting up with the guy that just said, like, he's a Nazi, he's worse than Hitler, and all of his policies are completely opposite of Trump. But as soon as somebody's willing to be like, hey, Don, I'm really sorry I said that, you know, all of a sudden he's like, oh, no problem, it's okay, you know, it's like, if you want to be friends, we can be friends. If somebody says something nice to him, gives him a compliment or something, it's like all of a sudden he's willing to play ball.
King Charles, you know, he could have months left, couple years left. It's kind of irrelevant, but, like, he's trying to, I think, maybe set this up for his son and his wife and the future King of England, because, you know, it is going to transfer to him. And if it wasn't for World War II and the U.S., you know, joining with Winston Churchill and the King then, I mean, that royal bloodline, that royal house would have come to an end. Which probably would not have been the worst thing in the world for mankind, but I think these things are irrelevant, really. You know, the now is all important. So, I don't know, just God bless America. I mean, you know, and God bless Donald Trump. I'm not, you know, I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater on this one. Like, I don't believe the fake news. I think it's all just fake, in my opinion. Honestly, it's the publishing industry. Like, they have to create as much fake variable shit as possible just to get views. Like, that's what the fake news is. It's all just publishing.
Yeah, I want to make it clear that my anger for the past day and a half has not been to Trump. My anger in the past day and a half has been to the fucking Brits. I don't like the goddamn redcoats. And if Trump was to try to ally with them, then I would be pissed off at Trump. If it's not an allyship and it's not happening, well then guess what? Trump is completely fucking great and I love the guy again.
That's exactly right, James. That's the James I know. So I think, like I said, I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't think anything's going to come of this. I'm just going to go there. I think we're going to be out of the clear. He might not, as much as he might not like it, he's probably not going to say anything much more about it. He's not even going to retract it, but nothing's going to come of it. So I don't know how you want to take that, but I'm just going to go with that for now. If I see anything else, though, pop up, I definitely will be the first to be right with you, James, on things. So I just feel like it's a nothing burger as much as, you know, I mean, we've seen Trump do these things before. So it's like, I guess maybe once in a while we could be a little bit shocked by it, and that's fine too.
The only thing is, we live in an information bubble. We live in a cultural bubble in this country. And, you know, when you go internationally, you realize, oh shit, like, we're on the inside looking out. They're on the outside looking in. And so don't be gullible. Like, this is a valid concern for American politics and American history. Like, and it's not saying that Trump is a traitor, but it's just saying that, like, it's naive to think that the king, the crown, MI6, Europe, like, that we don't have to worry about espionage, infiltration, subversion, blackmail. It's politics. It's chess. I mean, and it's war, and it's real, and this is life.
Has this even shown up, like, on CNN? Anybody know, like, CNN itself? Because I'm definitely going to look around. I'm doing that right now to see how far it's gotten. Because, you know, I do want to put this to a rest, because I don't want, you know, the media using this for the next, who knows how far they could take this in the news cycle and just own Trump for, like, 3 weeks.
But see, if it's real, they'll drop it. Like, they don't want to give wings to things they don't want to put.
About it. That's the problem.
CNN doesn't have an article on it that I can find at all.
CNN does not, NBC does not, ABC does not, and BBC does not. Neither does CNBC of Canada. Why don't they have it? Neither does... Actually, the only one I can see that picked it up was the Daily Mail at first, and then Fox News. And then Yahoo after that. So Russian ones, Russian sources, Russia saying, hey, look at this. And even the Fox News one is not on the front page. It's down. It's not even there on the website anymore. The link still exists, but it was only there yesterday at the bottom.
And if those media places did push this story, what they would do was igniting fire among people like us, and then it would go hardcore against Trump, and he would have to face it. Maybe they don't want him to face this. Maybe they want this one to sneak in under the radar.
That's what I'm thinking. They support this one. They like this one. They don't want it gone.
I mean, you can just go to Google and search Trump joining Commonwealth, and, like, you'll see it's everywhere. It's all over the People magazine. I mean, I did this research, 24 hours plus ago, and now it's probably gotten much bigger. But this is just one of those things where it's like it has its own life, and it will have its own lifespan. I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
I don't see it much on X. I don't see anybody mentioning it much. I don't know if, like, how many MAGA influencers would actually mention it too, but yeah, so far in the early going, I don't see much on X, but I'm looking around.
No CNN. No.
Yeah, the only actual news source, like reputable news, is Fox News. All the rest of them don't have it. I mean, there's People magazine, all these, like, odd places that you might see on, like, Facebook, but other than that, nothing else. Fox News is the only one. and then it comes from Donald Trump's post itself. That's the source of the story, is the post that Donald Trump made.
Yeah, Truth Social.
But wasn't that
a Sun article?
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't it some weird article though, like the domain?
Yeah, the Sun, which is like
that's a rag for the UK leftist media. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna go look at this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he had reposted the article about it, and the article was discussing things like blah 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 blah, the secret meeting, the letter, the condition, the future meeting, and he basically affirmed it, but he didn't really put any details. I mean, the post was like, yes, we do agree, and yes, we'll come see you. Me and my wife would love to come do that.
See, this is a little bit like...
So, and the meeting was mentioned at the end. So when he said, we'd love to come see you, he at least read the part where it said we want to have a meeting. So he read the whole thing.
This is one of those things where if we're right about it now, you know, on, what's the date, March 23rd, and then come like April Fool's Day, you know, there comes out a new article about this, or at some point that we actually get validated with this theory of some type of a merger or reunification. And see, this is the thing about that King Charles, is like, he was best friends with Jimmy Savile. And if you were best friends with Jimmy Savile, I mean, how the fuck is this guy still even walking? Like,
that dude's worse than Epstein, in my opinion, because he did it to little kids and kids in hospitals as well.
So that's the thing. It's like judge a man's character by the company he keeps. And I don't know if you know about Lord Mountbatten, but supposedly he was a pedo, and his assassination by the Irish Republic was like targeted. You could look up that one. Anyways, I'm just saying that these people have been, you know, they're not up to up to any good. I don't trust them.
You think?
Yeah, like Wallace says.
Prince Andrew.
Like Wallace was saying down there below, though. Sorry about that.
Sorry, I was just saying, like, you know how the royal family, they really don't want certain things to come out. They really try to put a cover on any sort of thing that could damage the royal family's name or anything like that. And with all this Epstein file stuff being up in the air, and they still haven't released everything, if there's some other things that could implicate the royal family in a worse light related to this, more so than it already is, I mean, King Charles will do anything in his power to do any kind of favors that he can for anybody to prevent anything else from coming out. So maybe that has something to do with it.
That's what I was trying to tell you, Tone. That's what I was saying, is maybe it's related to the Epstein files, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we know that you know this, so let's, you know, we'll do this for you. You know, is that the whole deal? So that's where I was going to. I mean, it seems like that would be more plausible than Trump just doing this, you know? I don't know.
Well, what do you guys think? Do you think there is any excuse or rationalization for us to join the Commonwealth that anybody's given that would make you agree?
Well, and maybe in his mind is that if we were to do that, he was able to convince everybody, it would back Canada off a little bit with not being so against joining America as a 51st state. I think that whole thing is ridiculous. But if we were part of the Commonwealth, they'd be like, well, hey, America's like in this thing with us too. Maybe it won't be so bad. But I mean, that sounds like a really pathetic excuse, but I can't really think of any idea other than something to do with Canada.
See, the problem is when we frame it joining the Commonwealth, the reframe is not we're giving up sovereignty or supremacy to the king. We're simply joining a trading network. Like, that's the spin. But again, the devil will be in the details, and I guarantee you there could be something in there which is, you know, traitorship or traitorous or anti-constitutional and anti-American.
It's been happening app to us, people saying that, oh, it's just a trade thing, it's just this, it's just that. It's not that big of a deal. People are like, do you even know what a Commonwealth is? Like, you're an idiot for saying no. And it's like, how is this any argument in favor of us joining this?
I still hate niggers.
What?
All right. And why do you hate them?
Yeah, they don't like red coats. They like purple.
Actually, me personally, I don't care who's the president. I just want a good world I want to say that I feel like he is fucking us economically in every single way. I just wanted cheaper gases and a better economic status. Because the prices of shit, like inflation ever since COVID, it's just been fucking horrible.
So that was mostly under Biden, right?
I mean, I guess so. Because they say you never really see the effects of the last president until 4 years after their term.
That didn't happen this time. We saw it instantly.
Yeah, and I also felt like he was just, what's the word? Playing cat and mouse with, Russia and whatever they got going over there in fucking Israel.
Yeah, royals. It's more royals that we're talking to. I fucking hate it. I hate it all, geopolitical structures. No, we should do, our foreign policy should be fuck you to death. That's what we should do. I like Mr. Garrison. That's what our foreign policy should be.
Allahu Akbar.
Some very strange people on this app.
As well as said, with no lube. Yeah, the reason I just say this is because it's like we have Russia's fighting Ukraine, this oligarch, this royal, this cousin hates this cousin, this country, and it's like we have to get involved in every single one of these. If we're going to be dad, we should just act like a dad and actually spank the fuck out of these kids. And by kids, I mean nations that are underneath us that won't fucking act right. Including the UK. I mean, honestly, it just makes me so mad because for the past 2 months we've been talking about like, oh, it's a joke too. We should invade the UK and go take their crown down. And Trump's like, nah, we're going to go bend a knee to them. Get on the pillow, the little velvet pillow, put my knee down. I don't know. I still want to be optimistic. I still want to like him. I really do. But yesterday, just like it was for Alex Jones, it was like a minefield. It was like a nuclear bomb went off. Boom.
Yeah, and Alex Jones has really been supporting Trump hardcore, man. Last several months. I mean, he's like, Trump can do no wrong. He's doing so much good. We got to get behind him no matter what he does. He's on the good team, and he made a mistake here, he made a mistake there. But ultimately, we got to get behind this guy. And so the fact that Alex is like, wow, I feel stabbed in the back, that says a lot because Alex was like his biggest supporter,
Yeah, that's like I'm the biggest supporter on the app, I would say, for Donald Trump. I'm being real with you. I can figure out how to make every single conversation go back to supporting Trump or figuring out how to get the propaganda where, hey, we need to just talk about Trump or you need to like Trump. And that's like my main goal. So it definitely feels like a different day for me specifically coming on here and saying different things than I usually do.
Welcome back to the show. And it's interesting the mutual appreciation.
Let's look at it like, what if Trump's, doing his business thing? He's saying nice things to people. He's trying to get on King Charles's good side. He doesn't really have any intention of joining it, but he's like, yeah, I like King Charles. I like the idea. He's just throwing things around out there. He obviously wasn't really thinking about this one very deeply, and it would be a major mistake. But if he was just, he's trying to work deals and things like that. I still think it's possible that that's the case because he has made some idiotic statements in the past where he didn't really think things out all the way. But his ultimate goal, if it's to make America great again, and he feels like he's making some deals instead of trying to just go to war with everybody in the world, whenever there is an opportunity for him to mend some fences or try to cut some deals that he thinks is going to be ultimately better for America, I think that he will, at least entertain that idea. And even if he says something stupid like, I love King Charles, I like the idea, because that's all it said. That was his quote. I love King Charles, I like the idea. What idea specifically is he talking about? And what if he's just saying it in a way to kind of make Europe feel good, or make England feel good, or make King Charles feel good, or make whatever group of people that he's trying to make feel good? It could be Canada, England, whoever, the left. Like, hey, this guy doesn't want to fight with everybody. He actually wants to try to get along. Like, what if he's, in his mind, doing that in a business sense, like he's trying to just shake some hands?
They have a tremendous surplus against
That just sounds like you're trying to rationalize again, like, oh, he wants to make King Charles feel good. Come on. You don't believe it. You know you don't believe it. I don't have to tell you.
He does this kind of stuff, though. I mean, we do have evidence.
I know, but you know that you're rationalizing, and you know it doesn't make sense, and you know what I'm saying makes sense, and you know it's the worst case scenario, and you hate it. I know. I know.
But, I mean, so you believe it completely. You think this is what he wants to do. I'm not ready to make that jump, that leap, that far yet.
So I don't know if you know the relationship between Trump and King Charles, but I just went on YouTube and I typed in, Trump and Commonwealth, and so a lot of Australian media, Sky Media, and Australian news and stuff, they're like, they all love this concept. They're like enthralled with it, and they're calling it a bromance between Donald Trump and King Charles. So maybe you should know the relationship. They're they're tightly connected. So really, again, like, I think this is just a trade deal, really. I mean, it's like Brexit, like whatever the fuck that was. I mean, all that complaining. Do you know how many fucking Brexit rooms and all this Brexit media bullshit that we had to listen to forever about bullshit? It's like, what the fuck what was the outcome of all that bullshit? Like, nothing ever changes. It's all the same shit. So again, man, I'm telling you, to me, this seems like it's going to be the biggest shakeup that nobody saw coming.
Yeah, I'm in fact 100% sure that this is happening. That's why I'm talking about this and calling the whistle. The secrecy over the 8 years, the hidden letters, the hidden meetings. I saw a picture of Donald Trump standing next to this fucking king, and he had this retard-looking fucking face of glee standing next to King Charles. I had this awakening where I was like, it's real, it's all happening, and then it just hit me all at once. And that's what happened over the past day and a half, where I've been telling everybody here, and it's just like, I'm 100% sure that this is the plot. 100%. Will it pass the Senate? I don't know. There's only 5 senators that are questionable if maybe he gets it or not.
Well, even if it doesn't happen through the Senate or whatever, there's still other things that could happen in the background that would be extremely harmful to all of us. Just the fact that he's friends with this guy and on the same page as him, ultimately, even if they're not able to get Congress to pass it or whatever, it could still get us in really deep trouble. Just all the other things that could happen behind closed doors.
Well, but the real problem is he's a fucking idiot if he thinks that this king is actually his friend. That means he's an actual idiot. There's no way that you actually believe Donald Trump, the King Charles of he's royal. That's like believing that they could be our friends, so that I could be friends with Trump himself. That's an idiotic thing to think. It's not possible. 2 different classes, 2 different worlds. It's never going to happen. And he represents a country, and if Donald Trump doesn't understand that this guy represents a country and their interests and that their friendship or whatever romance, his little gay-ass fucking pictures, and standing next to him, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean fucking anything. I'm worried enough that I am publicly calling it out, saying, hey, this is fucking crazy, and this is what I think is happening.
What you said about Congress never passing it, that just lends more credibility to the fact that it can't be taken as a real serious thing that we should actually worry about happening, because that's not going to happen. So what is the end game plan that he's thinking about with even entertaining this idea? What could be going on? Because we're not going to join them. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Well, sadly, it does not go through Congress. Since it's considered a treaty of sorts, it would go through the Senate, and it would only need 67 senators. From what I can tell, you would have between 60 and 68 senators, and yes. So that's about an 8 to 10 vote margin of yes and no, with it being on the heavier no, for sure. But that leaves enough margin of yes that I am still fucking worried. I want it to be a solidified no.
And it would get rejected by a lot of the Republicans, and he would have to pull a ton of Democrats to do that.
You're correct. You have to pull about 30 Democrats, 35 Democrats, and
Did we lose James, or is it just me?
No, I can't hear him. Anyways, I mean, the thing is, this is...
Christian nationalism that he admits to being a part of. He's a Christian nationalist, and I haven't had a problem with that. But I have seen, at least in the past day and a half, how the Christian nationalist movement have really rallied behind the idea on Twitter. They love it. They think it's great. The Crusades are back, baby. We're going to go back to England. So I am extremely worried for senators that I'm not sure how they would vote. Specifically like Holly or even Lindsey, not Lindsey Graham.
Not your boy Holly. Oh no.
I am worried about Holly. I feel like he might vote you out on some stupid shit like this.
Thank you. Can you also do the
He is a little bit ridiculous. I forget what he calls himself. Some sort of Christian. He used a specific word. It's not just the general Christian nationalist. It's the word he used for it.
Yeah.
And that group there is like Anglo. Yeah, it's like an Anglo-Saxon, English-based version of it.
Alright, let's go straight ahead.
So basically the King of England.
Yeah, now, you're probably not going to care much for this, but do you think Trump might be doing this to save basically Europe from being Islamicized or turning into, the next caliphate? I mean, I don't know. We didn't really talk about the foreign aspect of this. Is there anything there that you can see, James, where it's like, oh shit, we gotta do something, we're gonna lose all of Europe too anyways to these crazies?
Well, this is where I go with Alex Jones on this one. I watched his video, and he says, if we let this Commonwealth thing happen, that in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, we're going to have King Mohammed rule the Commonwealth of America. And is that what we want? And that is a good question. Do we want King Mohammed? Would we be saving it, or would we be killing it?
We don't want King Mohammed, no. Canada can have King Mohammed.
Hey,
yeah, because like on this
you're
path,
the one who's
you're right.
right now, Matt. You guys are the one who are going to get annexed. You're going to annex yourselves now.
Yeah, apparently, you're right, y'all. This is probably crazy for you to witness, I'll tell you that. Last week I'm yelling at you, calling you a fucking Commonwealth retard, now all of a sudden we're joining it.
Oh, I forgive you, James. You're all forgiven. We're good.
Strange bedfellows we all do have, what we weave around this place. I mean, I didn't have seeing that on my bingo card of things of Charles and James being on the same page, but here we are, right?
Yeah, I tell you, I wouldn't have seen this Trump comment coming in 1,000 years. I could never have ever seen it. That's nothing I would have ever been able to predict him saying this. If 10 years ago, if 4 years ago, somebody was like, Donald Trump's going to want us to join the United Kingdom, I would have laughed in her face and called him gay.
And our opinion is irrelevant, but people here are making the comment that it's because Trump wants to be a king. He thinks that, somehow this is going to, allow him to become a real king.
But he only has 4 years to be king, so I don't really know how much
it's just
truth to that,
It's just a question of language. President is another title for Caesar. It's just a question of language.
You're correct. It is actually factually another title for Caesar.
So he's already a king. I mean, it's all just in the... Listen, everybody's going to die. All these titles are irrelevant. I mean, it's really a question of historical revisionism, because you know, if you think about the people that sacrificed their lives to declare independence, I mean, it only took them, you know, I guess what 100 and I mean, the Federal Reserve Act essentially took the republic out from the hands of the republic and created a separate entity, a monopoly. I mean, we lost our ability to essentially mint and coin and own our and have a sound currency. Like it's a global international banking cartel. The World Bank is in DC. I mean, do you know how much money we taxpayers kick up? And you can just call it inflation if you want, but the fact that we don't have a balanced budget and that every year we spend trillions of dollars we don't have with no sight seen, otherwise the whole thing will fall apart. It's like let the thing fall apart. Let us go through years of struggle, but we if we do that, we can't have this separation of Federal Reserve and Treasury. It has to become one system as opposed to having a private monopoly.
Yeah, when we go to the banking cartels that you bring up, most people don't know this, but there's 12 major banks in America. There's 12 major banks in Europe. There's 12 major banks in Japan. Guess who owns those 12 major banks? You guessed it right. It is those 12 major families in those exact regions.
If you use my song in a short, I'll comment on it.
Yeah, but I mean, we know that Rothschild is one of the families, but I mean, like, can we see their Instagram?
Yourself mid-sentence, doctor.
I'm saying, like, James, we can't see their Instagram. So, like, who are the thousands of people in these 12 tribe families? Like, that's where I think you kind of lose me on tribalism because, like, Jamie Dimon, you know, I don't know. Can you identify his tribe? Can you identify the CEO of Goldman Sachs? Like, what tribe he's in? I mean, you have to, like, actually show me the org chart. Huh?
We can't identify the tribe of Goldman Sachs, or at least their original 12 tribes. That's a Jewish one.
Anyways, I like the theory, but I just think...
And I guess if you look at the last name, it'll tell you which tribe it's from. The Jews track theirs pretty good.
I'm just saying, like, it should be easily identifiable. I mean, show me a matrix, show me a visualization graphic. Otherwise, it's just like a rant.
Well, the problem is when I say tribe, you're thinking like, racial groups or something like that. I'm speaking of very direct families, the way that royals work. So if you go into Buckingham Palace, that's the tribe. You're inside of 3 tribe groups. People outside, they may look like them or have relation to them, but they're not part of the tribe. So the King of England is the leader of the tribal group, being the families, the dukes, the duchesses, etc., Edinburgh, blah, 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 whatever fucking the lords and ladies, all the titles that they give. Those are the tribal titles that they have for the family. And it's divided, it's like, and it's not divided up, at least in Europe, by names or ethnicity. It's divided up by nation. So, like, the Russian one, which is a different family, a different tribe, is in Russia. They're far away from each other, but they're still cousins. They're still related. You look at the last names, that's how you know. Again, when you look at the Queen of England and the King of England's last names, that's the tribes that they have taken the family lead of. So they may be related to the other tribes as well, but they are not the official family leader of that tribe. So, like, as long as the Russian Tsar exists, then they can't adopt, I forget what the Russian Tsar's last name was, Romanov. But now that he's gone and they marry a Romanov, they can become Edinburgh, Coel, Oath, Romanov, whatever the fuck her last name is. His last name is.
Well, I think honestly, I just believe in the news cycle, and I think this will probably be a nothing burger, but we could be onto something here, and I like this speculation because it does seem to fit with this whole thing with Epstein and him being like the catalyst or the linchpin on global espionage from Tel Aviv to Manhattan to London to Rio. I mean, it's the fucking burger that just, when they took him out and there's no footage and Bill Barr, says, well, we don't know what happened. It's like there's real espionage at play. And, Trump is like the Teflon Don, though. I mean, could you imagine if Kamala Harris was dealing with this and she was like, going to meet with the King of England? We would have all been like, ooh, God, no. I mean, the thing is, I just wish Trump wasn't maybe so like narcissistic or egotistical, where he was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna go to London and meet with the king. I'm gonna sit here in the White House in the Oval Office and declare war against the traitors in my own country first and clean house here before I go fuck with you guys. I got a lot of shit I got to do over here. It's like, if you want to come and talk, like, come to America and talk to me here. Like, don't go over there. Oh, I got a second visit. Hey, not many people get a second visit. Like, he's like Rodney Dangerfield in the Oval Office. But I would rather have Rodney there, maybe. I don't know.
So, out of the pecking order of things, which one at this point is more likely? Us basically buying Greenland and taking that over. The second one being obviously taking over Canada, making it the 51st state. Or the third one, obviously being this particular situation. Am I missing? Oh, Gaza. I guess Gaza probably is the most likely. I'm just going to leave that one out. But out of those three, what do you think is most likely to happen? I'm going to go with Greenland, Canada, and then this one in that order.
I actually agree with your order, but I think he believes all three for real. And people keep telling me that no, he doesn't actually believe the Canada annexing, but I think he genuinely believes all three.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I think he genuinely believes it. I think, well, maybe not the third one. The third one, I don't think he, obviously that being what we're talking about, I think it's just a little bit of rhetoric right now, but I do think the other two are pretty much probably on the table in some form. Will they happen? Probably not, though, too. I think the thing is, like, Trump only has 4 years. I mean, we're almost going to be blow through the first year before we know it. And I just don't think there's enough time to do what Trump wants to do. So I think this is all kind of for nothing. I mean, you might be able to get one of the three, or I don't know, whatever you want to. Like I said, I think Gaza's more likely. It's going to be Trump hotels all over that sucker.
See, the thing with building buildings and towers is it's like when you look at the new tech money, like Google money and Facebook money, Meta, I mean, you're talking about trillions of dollars in market cap that doesn't require any real infrastructure, which is a real lot of money and a lot of time and effort to build that shit. I don't know. Like, this just to me is, I can't say enough that, like, the King of England, like, this is like the never ending drama or desire. Like, you got to watch that movie King George III or The Madness of King George, and just know that, like, it's always on every king's mind. Like, man, we had it all. Maybe I could get it back. And like him and his mom, post World War II, like they would have been destroyed. Like, we saved them, but by saving them, we may have opened up the gates of hell for ourselves. I mean, they were our historical enemy, and we decided to partner with them on destroying Europe, and wiping out hundreds of thousands of people and destroying everything, and then Marshall planning Europe, Like, that's the thing. It's like, even when we win, we don't win prizes, we win debt. So, I mean, and we are in the biggest debt catastrophe of our fucking existence. It's like we inherited a catastrophe. And Trump is really like facing financial oblivion. I mean, it's that bad. Like, you can't underestimate how expensive it is to run the military industrial complex at $1 trillion a year. And costs only keep going up. They're not going down because we refuse to downgrade and downsize.
So I don't want to defend America here, but like I'll do it just this one time. The national debt in America, right? I'm always poking fun saying America has the biggest debt on earth. It's like a misleading statistic. America per capita doesn't really have the most debt on earth. And then if you look at the amount of money and the GDP that America generates, like debt to GDP, America isn't that bad. Now, if you look at like there are countries that have a lot higher debt per GDP, and I don't think they're worse than America. But all that to say that, like, as a Canadian, I'll keep making fun of America's debt, but it's not like that simple, right? Like, America is a really big country, and they make a lot of money, so it like kind of makes sense that they have a lot of debt. So yeah, that's my defense of America. I'll stop there.
I know, but at 40 trillion, you're talking about 40 Microsofts. Microsoft is the global software industry. You can't underestimate how much money we've spent. We've spent 10 Apples, 10 Microsofts, 5 Googles. Like, and what did we get for it? We got debt. We didn't build some fucking monolithic corporation that runs the planet. No, we gave it all away. And so, like, this could be some type of, like, jumping off point, you know? And if Trump is Groznev, like the Russian mole that the media says he is, or if he is technically MI6's bitch, you may see some historical revisionism taking place over the next year.
See, I think I'm not just trying to make fun of America, but I worry that the $4 trillion valuation for Microsoft is something that we won't see anymore. I think it's going to slowly shrink. And I think because everybody invests in America right now. That, like, America's the most attractive market to throw your money at. So everybody puts money in the stock market. And that's why, since, like, back in 2019, Microsoft wasn't even worth $1 trillion. And like you said, they're at like 3 trillion, 4 trillion now? That is insane amounts of money that was generated like since the pandemic, and it's because all other countries are just throwing their money at America. But Trump and I'm not just trying to like bash Trump, but I genuinely think he may have heard that concept of like everybody should just throw money at America because it's the greatest country in the world. Like, people don't want to do that anymore.
But say put your guns down or else.
I think. No, go ahead, man.
No, I mean, I see people that want to invest in America. I just was looking on X, and there's various companies. Actually, Johnson & Johnson, J&J, I guess they're going to invest back into America. So I think there's things out there that are coming back. I don't know where you get this idea that nobody wants to invest in America. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I think these came out, they said they sold 5,000 of those golden visas, you know, where it's like a $5 million investment or something. They were selling a lot of them, but Peter Schiff says, it's like, why would you want to spend $5 million to now start paying income tax in the United States of America? Like, I don't know what the actual catch is on that, you know, that golden visa or golden citizenship.
Yeah, they have 2,500, you know, pre-sold. You know, who knows how many actually go ahead and does it. But are they, I think they're like 2.5 million a piece. Is that right, Doctor, or something? There's some, I mean, pretty absorbent amount of money. I mean, 5 million maybe even, I think I saw. Maybe I'm wrong, but, and the calculations on that are if you could, you know, sell that, there's a good chance you could get, you know, pay down some of the debt. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, the way things are going now, something has to be done. Whether or not it's, you know, the worst, in the world or what have you, it still needs to be taken care of. You can't run a country that's always, not doing, not balancing his books, Or at least someone's going to have to deal with it. I guess, at some point you just can't keep going and going, so.
I mean, it can, but it's just the hypocrisy of where the money's going and the fact that these Democrats have been in power for so long, and there's just so much special interest, and but at $40 trillion, I mean, I don't. It's like a huge theft. It's the biggest money laundering operation in human history. I mean, I'm just getting by myself, but it's like there's a lot of people in the food chain. But anyways, I mean, I'm telling you, Elon Musk is the happiest kid in the candy store right now. That guy is fucking, living the dream. Supposedly. But if you see a video of him balancing a spoon and a fork and a knife at a dinner table, well, it looks like he's bored as fuck, and Don is talking about something with some guy on the other side. It's kind of like, like, I don't know. Are you really Tony Stark, or are you just like an autist? Who's sucking at the tit of the taxpayer, because it's like whoever gets closest to the president, I mean, they're gonna engineer it for their greatest benefit. I mean, it's everybody's a hypocrite when you get to the nexus of power, because you're like, yeah, let's build some more SpaceX. How much is that gonna be? 150 billion? Done. Like fake money. Here we go.
Yeah, I saw him balancing those spoons. He looks very stressed lately. Like, it seems like he's starting to realize that he made a choice, that he can't just stop doing Doge and go back to Tesla. But like everyone knows that's what he should do, but it just seems like he can't. And like, I don't know. I think he's stressing right now. Like he seems stressed. He's also being investigated in Canada for fraud for stealing a bunch of subsidies from the government, and I hope they investigate and catch him.
Yeah, but he's not going to go to Canada to suffer any prosecution. I mean, those are all nothing burgers, and he is Donald Trump's wizard, and Donald Trump is the magician. I mean, they're working hand in hand, but I'm saying, to me, I just think it's all kabuki theater now. Like maybe the whole thing. It's like, what if the whole thing is just one giant fraud? Like, I mean, even the shooting with Crooks, it's like, where's the information on that? Are we ever going to find out who actually tried to kill our sitting president? Hello? I mean, how long do we have to wait till there's an arrest? Like, what was on the cell phones? Who's he talking with? Like, why can't we get some action? Like, I don't want to just see a bunch of executive orders signed. I want to see law and I want to see justice. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe I'm like totally irrational because I'll never see it, because it's all just kabuki.
Just to your point about, and I'm not a lawyer here, but about him he's not going to come to Canada, but if in this case it's Tesla that did the wrong, then they'll just go after Tesla, and there's a lot of assets that Tesla owns in Canada, so like they can punish them like that.
I saw a picture of Elon. He looked like he was in pretty bad shape. But anytime you get involved in the government, I'm sure it's something that he doesn't want, to be totally involved in. I'm sure he wants to. If he could do it all over again, he probably wouldn't even be part of it, for all we know. But at the end of the day, I think like he knew what he was going to get into a bit. I mean, this isn't like something that he was forced into doing that I'm aware of. So, but it all determines to see if there's any value from what he will be doing. So, There's no value that it was all a waste, I'm sure, for him and his time and what have you. But he obviously has some, whether it's good or bad, whoever's opinion you want to take, but, he obviously has a reason for doing what he's doing. Of course, I was shocked to see that he even wanted to even be part of all this, because he just seems like he's more of a person that just wants to get, his rockets going and his cars made. So it's been interesting. We'll see what happens. I do think that he'll, I think actually the Doge thing only goes till like July 4th of 2026. So, I mean, it's not like it's the full term of, or Trump's full term. So that'll all go by fast, and this will be done and dealt with, whatever, whatever fashion that might be.
I didn't expect it to last this long. I thought for sure they would have a following up, like that something would happen and Trump would get mad at Elon. Hasn't happened yet. Shocking.
Yeah, I think the media is trying to get that to happen. I think the first sign of that was obviously the meeting that they had with cabinets. And of course, there was a big thing in the New York Times, I think it was, about how he was rubbing, butting heads and stuff with all those folks. But then, of course, Trump, either he is putting a spin on it or he's not, is saying that it was one of the best meetings they've ever had. So it's just it's a matter of how you want to interpret what happened. But the goal is to make that happen, have the infighting and Elon and Trump go at it. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some kind of dust up eventually happens. There's just no way that two people with their certain personalities and the way they go about their business are going to butt head eventually. So I'll be surprised if they last all those next, whatever this is left, a year and a half to 2 years left. But yeah.
Don't you think accidentally firing people and then having to rehire them is going to cost more to the system than whatever he's going to be able to save? Even in the long run, isn't this a huge inefficient process?
I mean, to be honest, it probably was no good way to do it. I mean, you probably have to do it the way they did it, because it's just such a big apparatus that it probably would take a year just to sort through all of it if you actually did it the right way. So by doing it this way, yeah, you go back and you fix it. I mean, I guess isn't that Elon's approach, is you move fast and break things? I mean, that's exactly what they try to do with the government right now. So
I think that works in tech, but in government,
I get that. I know. Yeah, no, I get that it works in tech, but they're trying something different. This is all a big experiment, and you're right, it might not work, and it might be for the detriment. We'll see, but you gotta do something different. You can't just be repeating the same shit over and over that we've had for the last whatever it is, 15, 20 years without having some major issues down the line like we're seeing. So, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Welcome, Jasmine.
Hi, thank you.
Did you want to contribute? What are your thoughts on Elon or Trump and how he's going about his business so far? What are your thoughts?
I would say actually it's very unique, and I'm hoping the world will learn from Elon's and Trump's. Hopefully the other country will act like them. I think almost every country required the same shuffle and restructure like what Trump and Elon Musk done. For sure, almost all governments have corruptions. And was working in government, I know it may rehiring cost, but in long run it would be better, because sometimes people who work in government for so long that they're not capable to learn. They would reach their maximum learning capacity, or they're lazy. I think it's new face will be more competent, bring new idea. They would appreciate their job. So I have no disagreement with so far with what both done.
Yeah, and actually some of the firing is around this thinking that the people that are in his administration need to be executing his agenda. And as we saw in his first term, there was a lot of that not going on. So I do think that this time around, he really wanted to make sure that that particular piece was taken care of, you know? And not saying that everybody has to have, like, there's a test, a litmus test to see if you're on the same board completely. But if you're not doing anything and totally going against the agenda of the administration, then you're probably going to see yourself having to find a new job. Because clearly Trump is not liked. And when you have people in the, like you're saying there, for 30 years, and they're used to a way the government has been run with various different individuals, and you have a person like Trump, and you hear about all this stuff, you know, from the media and all the other things that might influence you about regarding what he's about, then you're gonna probably hold tight and go against everything that he's about. So, and that doesn't work. That's not what people voted for, and that's probably mostly the reason why a lot of people got the old can. At least a good portion of them, probably.
If I can ask, Jasmine, you said you don't see anything wrong with what they did. Again, they fired veterans. They had to rehire them. They fired the nuclear people. They had to rehire them. They fired the bird flu people. They had to rehire them. And I'm forgetting the other departments, but I know those are not the only ones. So maybe you like what he's doing, but to say you can't think of anything that he did wrong, I mean, there's a lot that he did wrong.
Well, I haven't come across those. My statement was based on what I have heard, but those I was not aware of. Well, Elon, he mentioned, he acknowledged that he would make a mistake, and when he make a mistake, as soon as he knows it's a mistake, he rectify it. And I think that's beautiful. Not many politicians can admit to that.
Okay, but he fired thousands of people, and then for like a few weeks, these people were out of work, making I don't know, maybe they were making money, but then they had to try to rehire them. Like, that's terrible. That's huge. That's not just like a mistake you correct.
Well, I understand. Look, nothing is perfect. There is no absolute. That's impossible. However, if you outweigh what he has done and compare it to those minor mistakes he did, his benefit is so far great. And I think that's what I'm saying. I hope the world, the international country, all the countries will follow the same. We need to audit and review and clean up the government, because I have worked in government. There is no process to clean up, to re-audit, to go through things. Everything piles for many years. So his benefit is so far greater than those mistakes. And as I said, he did admit that it made mistake. And no one is perfect. Like, you tell me someone that never done any mistake.
You don't. When I make a mistake, 1,000 people don't lose their jobs and their livelihood and their money, right? This isn't just a mistake. This is like a monumental mistake on like the biggest level possible. I don't understand it. It's like not a small mistake.
The thing is, there's 1,000 people that deserve to be fired too, though. So, like she's saying, and at the end of the day, it does come to more of a benefit than a real loss. Because, you know, we think, in our opinion, that that's saving us money. That's all we care about. I could care less about these folks. Unfortunately, it's just the way that it is. We all get fired. You know, we get fired in the private sector all the time. You know, it happens. You know, and maybe those were by accident too. But companies make cuts and they save costs, and that comes at the expense of people. It's like nothing new. I don't know where this is like. Trump didn't make this up. People get cut all the time to be able to save on costs and stuff like that. So, go ahead, Jasmine.
No, I agree. Yeah, Yeah, so if you do a project, that project is not every step of it 100% will be successful at the first go. Yeah, but I think he's achieving his purpose, and as I said, he's setting an example, restructure the states and the other countries to follow.
Well, I guess I'm not going to convince you guys with all the screw-ups he did. But if he hadn't found fraud, right, or waste, or inefficiencies, he could easily present them. There's not a single piece of fraud that's been brought in front of courts. No criminal theft whatsoever. But I look forward to the day where he finds some.
If there's spending being spent and we have no idea where it's going, that would be considered waste.
Colored powder doesn't seem
and also, if it's stuff like again that we don't know that where it's going to, it could also be considered fraud. It could be both. So as long as that stays the same, we have both going on. Nobody knows what it is, where it's going, and what's going on with it. It could be totally considered both of those. So it doesn't need a court to have that discovered. We can just assume that it's a waste and potentially a fraud, or both.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, Gerald. Sorry. I'm surprised you said that because they publish everything on X, and I think Doge has their own website. They publish that as well. But a simple one was when those older people, like 200 years old, and they were still on social service, the money was going out to these old people that they were 200 years old, 300 years old. And the other one that recently was the corruption. Yes, Gerald. Yeah, actually, yeah. I'm hoping you could look at the website. And the other thing is, I think there was a corruption between one of the politicians and one of the Egypt politician as well, like bribery of giving gold or stuff like that. But they publish everything online.
So this is what's crazy, right? Like, I'm very familiar with what you're talking about. It's been corrected and retracted. There's not a single person in their system that was getting money over 200 years old. In fact, there's a safety in the system. I believe it's 121, or I could be wrong about the number, where if anyone were to reach that age, the system would already have blocked you out from receiving money. So that's been corrected. It's been removed from the Doge website. None of it, not a single evidence of a single individual receiving money has been found. But they did stop sending money to individuals who should have been receiving that money, who then had to go and prove they were in fact alive. Well, what's crazy to me, right, is that you heard the lie on Twitter, or the post, but somehow, and I don't know how, you didn't hear the correction. I'm sure, I just can't imagine you haven't heard about the correction about this. It's all over the news. His list, they posted a list of their top 5 things they found to save money, and all of those were incorrect too. They removed that as well.
Well, I'm not aware of what you're talking about, actually, and I pretty much follow X very well, so that'd be interesting to see that. You're saying there's some correction where that particular piece that was brought up about the Social Security, that there was no checks issued to those individuals. That'd be interesting to see that. I can't imagine that. I mean, the